All right, so welcome everybody to the December 2020 Community Board 4 public hearing and regular meeting. This evening we have two public hearing items, so we want to start as early as possible. I know our presenters are in attendance. If you're not panelists yet, we will make you a panelist as soon as it is your turn to present, just to keep things efficient and simple. Starting today, we will hear from Type A projects regarding the Saddam Street rezoning. And Annie, Jill, I'll let your team take it away.
Going to unmute. So we have one person still hoping to join, Matt Lanuzzi. So I just gave him Celeste my information, maybe thinking he could sign in as me. So if you see another Annie Tershwell pop up, that's why. I'm not starting with my first slide yet because it occurred to me just in thinking about this evening's presentation that I wanted to start with a thank you because Jill, Annie, Getz, Matt, and I have been working on this project collaboratively with both you and the council member for a really long time, since 2015. And I think that while we, on the development team side, prioritize our relationship with the community and the amount of time that you have all spent with us over this project, we are also just incredibly grateful that you gave us that time. So I just thought it might be important to start with that thank you and to start with this slide because you guys have been a big piece of what has brought us here this evening. And so I wanted to start with a thank you and an acknowledgement. Also, I've made friends on this community board since I've been here so long, and I'm grateful for those friends as well. So I'm now going to go back and I'm now going to go backwards to the beginning of the presentation. But I, again, just wanted to start with a thank you. So we're going to present tonight a project that many of you guys have already heard about and given feedback on, the proposed development of 349 Saddam Street. As you'll see in the presentation, for those of you who are new, this is a bit of a unique presentation because it's not just about an affordable housing project, and it's not just about a manufacturing building, but it's rather the joining of the two. And we think it's a unique project and prospect, not just for Bushwick, but for the whole city. It started over a conversation that Jill, Getz, Matt, and I had around building affordable housing, which we all do, but acknowledging that if you don't have good jobs, affordable housing is besides the point. And so we came up with 349 Saddam as an attempt to solve two problems and create strong, affordable living and working neighborhoods starting in Bushwick. A little bit about Type A projects, and then I'll let Getz talk about his work. Jill and I have been building real estate in New York City for over 15 years, and all of the work we do is civically minded, purpose-built space. We ran a not-for-profit for over a decade and have since started a smaller development firm focused on affordable housing. But all of the work that we do is really meant to feed the civic base of New York City. We've worked on manufacturing buildings, many of which are in Brooklyn. I think the one closest to you guys is a project that we did we're at 221 McKibben Street with the Greenpoint Manufacturing and Design Center. And 7 St. Nicholas is another project within your neighborhood, but have also worked in Greenpoint as well in Brooklyn. We've also built school buildings, many of which are in Brooklyn. Excellence Charter School for in Bedford-Stuyvesant is shown here, as well as PAVE in Red Hook and Achievement First, which is on Atlantic Avenue. Just a few projects in Brooklyn to sort of share with you the breadth of our work in the civic arena. I'm going to hand over the presentation to Getz. Getz, are you there? Who's a representative of community developers?
I think I'm unmuted now, right?
Yep, you are.
Great. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the introduction, Annie. Getz Obstfeld is my name. Everyone just calls me Getz. And Matt and I, Matthew Lanuzzi, who is the president of Cheever Development Corp., which is a general construction company as well as a development company, and my firm, Community Developers, have worked together for over 20 years in throughout Brooklyn and somewhat in other boroughs, although we're focused mostly in Brooklyn. But I really should tell you about the two of us. I've spent the last 40 years working both as CEO of various nonprofit community development corporations and as owner of my own firm, Community Developers. And I've been both a community organizer and a tenant organizer, and focused on the area of housing. And I partnered up with Matthew Lanuzzi of Cheever Development Corp. Because they did some work for us when I was running a nonprofit in the South Bronx, and we were so impressed with their work, their construction work, the quality of the work, and the conscientiousness of their work, that when I left that nonprofit to form my own firm, I decided to work with them as builders for projects that I was involved in, and we've been working together on a wide variety of projects, both for sale, home ownership, conversions, adaptive reuse of buildings into new uses, and there are some photographs on this slide that show some of our work where we built many new homes in Bushwick with the New York City Partnership. We converted an old school building into affordable housing in Red Hook, South Brooklyn. And in Bushwick, we've converted some two old movie theaters into schools for the New York City Board of Education. We've also done some of the more difficult kinds of projects in the city, where we've renovated city-owned buildings with tenants in place, moving tenants around as we did the construction, very difficult, challenging kind of job. And we're known for taking on some difficult projects that we think will make a difference. So I've been mostly about building community for the past 40 years, and Matt has been all about building projects, building construction, and we have a strong respect for both the communities and the housing that we build in that communities, and that's what we're focused on. The building on Sudan Street, we purchased around 20 years ago. It had been vacant and abandoned. I guess it was a beverage distributor that went bust. And we saw an opportunity there to take that building and reconfigure it, redesign it so that it met the needs of some of the manufacturers that were then still in Bushwick, mainly to create modest-sized lofts that would be the right size and for a lot of the garment and other kinds of manufacturers that were in Bushwick then. And that's how we've been operating the building for the past 20 years with 2 or 3 manufacturers on each floor, each of them self-contained. When we were approached by Annie and Jill to see if there was some way that we can combine the local manufacturing uses that we had with affordable housing, we thought that that was a real interesting idea to keep both the housing and the jobs local. One of the unique things about Bushwick, as everyone knows, is that it's a melange of homes and factories and commercial businesses, all cheek by jowl, one next to the other, and that creates a great opportunity for people. And so we thought, well, maybe we can promote that with our site, because our site had a combination of manufacturing and vacant land. There was the opportunity to try to do both. And so we kind of jumped at the idea, not of course realizing how long it might take, but here we are, where we think we've got the financing model that can work. I think you're muted.
Thank you so much. So as Getz has said, it has been a while, and I'm going to go back to the slide that we started with, which is that when we started thinking about this project as a living and working building, instead of just going right into ULURP, we started a community engagement process and met with the council member who created a steering committee. And that was in 2015. And we had a number of meetings with the steering committee. We've had a number of meetings with the community board, both general meetings and land use subcommittee meetings. We've even hosted site visits organized by city planning so that people could really understand the type of manufacturing that was still happening in Bushwick. Sometimes it felt a little bit like we were a museum, because instead of many of the loft buildings that have been converted into apartments or clubs or bars or yoga studios, there was still manufacturing, living and breathing at 349 Sudam. And so this process over the last 5 years was very much informed by our engagement with the community and with the council member. Just to orient people so they know, where we are. I think you can see the red circle shows the site on Sudam. You will see that the site starts from Sudam and goes through to Willoughby, in between Irving and Wyckoff, obviously right behind the school and right behind the park. As Getz was saying, the existing building is a 43,000 square foot industrial building. It is tenanted by manufacturing tenants. I will share with you on the next slide a little bit about who those folks are. And in the rear of that building, there's a vacant lot. It's 17,500 square feet, also owned by the development team. And as you know better than we, this building is in the midst of a mixed-use neighborhood, as Getz was saying, adjacent to both educational facility, but in a mixed residential and industrial neighborhood, and adjacent to transportation. Here are just some images of the neighborhood, but a little silly because you all live here. So two of the tenants that we are most proud of are Molina Carpentry and Nuala Inc. They're both long-term tenants. Nuala Inc. has been there for 14 years, and really illustrative of the tenants that have populated the building for the last 20 years. Certainly we had more garment folks, but as that industry has moved away from New York City, we were really pleased to see that furniture and carpentry grew within those vacant spaces. And we're super proud of these tenants and our long-term relationship with them. So what we wanted to get to next is the affordable living portion of the project, as well as the expansion of the existing manufacturing portion of the project. So in addition to the 43,000 square foot building, we plan to build 14,000 square feet of new manufacturing space for light manufacturers. We estimate that that space can create opportunity for about 25 to 30 more local jobs. In doing so, we'll obviously add to the building by increasing the square footage, but we will also upgrade the building facade. And again, this is all, when we think about this project, we don't think about additional working space or building affordable housing. We look at this as one project united together. And as you can see in this image, the blue sort of bubble on top of the yellow building is where that manufacturing addition would live. And with the proposed addition, the manufacturing building itself would be just under 57,000 square feet, and the yellow building is the existing. The brown building you see in the back is the proposed affordable housing building. So this is just another view of the new manufacturing space that we hope to build on the site. As you can see, it's meant to be woven into the fabric of the existing building. So for the residential piece of the project, as discussed, our intent is to build an 100% affordable housing project. We'll get into the units and unit distribution in the next few slides, but we propose a building that is just over 86,000 square feet. It's 9 stories, and the way we got to 9 stories is because you'll see in the next slide, it's in line with the building height of the school, a little under it, in fact. And the building itself will house 95 affordable housing units. So this slide is going to sort of break down for you what our proposed unit mix and AMI distribution is. Again, we look at this as one project of both affordable housing and affordable manufacturing space. And as a result, we've chosen to use a program through HPD called the M² program, which accommodates households from 40% of AMI all the way up to 130% of AMI. And we propose a mix of family-sized and studio units. And I think one of the things we heard loud and clear from the community is that you want family-sized units. And so over the course of time, we have worked to minimize the studios to just 10% of the building, or just 9 studio units, and to have the majority of the building comprised of 2 and 3 bedroom units. So you can see that 40% of the building is 2 bedroom units and 15% are 3 bedroom units. So the majority is family size units, with 35% of the building dedicated to 1 bedroom units. One of the other things that we've worked to do is to balance the AMIs so that we can both afford to build new manufacturing space and accommodate those in the community at a variety of income levels. One thing to note, which has changed a bit since when we first started coming to you, but which we're excited about, is that rezonings now require that 15% of the units are set aside for formerly homeless households. And so we support that legislation. And as a result, we're required to do it, but we support it anyway. As a result, 15% of the units would be set aside for formerly homeless households, and that will fall within the AMI breakdowns. And so one of the things that you guys have asked us to do in the past when we've come before you is to sort of break down by AMI level how much the projected monthly rents would be. And so we are using 2020 HPD guidelines here. One thing to note, and we can talk about it a little bit further, is that, as you all know, the city is experiencing a dramatic financial crisis, and that has impacted the HPD pipeline. And so we are waiting to hear from HPD with regard to new term sheet terms, and even perhaps new rental guidelines. And so this is a snapshot of what we know today. And I'm just going to end with the proposed text amendments. And so, and I'm going to leave this slide on, and we do have a zoning attorney here to answer anything more specific. The manufacturing building would would turn from an M1 building into an M15 building, staying manufacturing. We would do a zoning text amendment to create a new special mixed use district where the vacant lot is. And that would be pairing an R70 and an M15 on the currently vacant lot behind the manufacturing building. Again, the manufacturing building will stay manufacturing, and in the rear, that vacant lot would turn into a special mixed use district. On a technical matter, there's a little sliver in between us and the school building that we would create an R6 zoning district. Basically, it's just so that city planning can sort of regularize the zoning map. It's a little oddly shaped at the moment. In order to build our housing, we are going to establish a mandatory inclusionary housing area for the vacant lot where the residential housing will be built. And we're seeking a special permit to waive the parking requirement on this site. And I know that has also been the topic of conversation at the community board, and we have really listened very hard. In order for us to comply with requirements with HPD, we had to have a minimum of 100 units or just thereabouts in order to comply with HPD requirements. We got to 95. We understand from HPD that's close enough, and we chose to prioritize affordable housing units in lieu of parking. And we know that that's an issue that the community board thinks about, and we've worked with you guys to think about that and again sort of prioritize the affordable housing. And I think that's the end of my slide, this presentation. This is just a rendering of the proposed facade for the project. I'm also happy to go back to any slides that folks want to focus on more deliberately.
Questions for the board? Comments? Thoughts?
I have a question. Is the funding already taken care of? Everything is already addressed, and all the issues are in place, and the votes are tight. Because once we if we're voting to change the zoning in regards to the M1 to M1-5 and the other one, and then eventually you guys will turn around and sell it because you don't have the other one, and then the deal is off. Is there any way? Is the funding there, or is it going to be done, or because of the way the times is, or we need to do something in regards to the deed instead of the owner, because we've been a lot of times fooled. So we want to make sure, one, that there's funding and that you're going to do it, and three, that if it doesn't go through, it stays the way it is.
Mm-hmm. So
because a lot of times when you guys don't get funding and things don't go through, you sell it to your guy next door, and when it already went, then he does do what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to make sure that it is deed out in regards to the place being the way it is. We really don't want to change, because if you guys don't, I don't know your status in regards to your funding or what's going on, because we are in an epidemic, and HPD is tight in money. And after we change everything over, you turn around and say, well, we really need to.
Yeah. Oh, first of all, I like your hat. So I can answer that in a couple ways. I mean, I wish we had a crystal ball. One of the things that we've been really pleased about is even though since almost a year, it's been a real struggle with HPD. Projects are beginning to close. We have a project closing next week with HPD. And We've also seen RFPs starting to be issued at HPD. And as you guys probably know, much of the HPD budget was reestablished, I want to say in the last month. So we too would like to be further along, but we have been in conversations with HPD in the past. Again, we are waiting for their term sheets. And so, which we understand will be out imminently. And so we are in conversations with HPD, but HPD is not making any formal commitments at the moment. And so I would say that I would say one other thing, and I can go back to the list, but if you remember, what Matt, Getz, Jill, and Annie do are affordable housing. And so part of what has made this project so interesting to us and why we've stuck with it since 2015 is because what we do is build affordable housing. And so although I don't have a crystal ball, I can speak to our combined experience. And had we wanted to, I don't think we would have stayed as committed to this project over the past 5 years had we not been committed to this sort of groundbreaking living and working project. So again, I wish I could tell you that HPD was back in full swing. I think that they're getting there and we are in conversation with them. But to be fair, we are waiting for them to fully right their ship.
Let me just add one more thing in answer to your question, because it's a great question. And I'll tell you what I guess you can call it the secret sauce of what this makes this project work is two pieces to it. One is that we've owned this property for 20 years. We're not buying it at market rate. So we don't have an acquisition price that makes the affordable housing piece of it unworkable. Because Matt Lanuzzi, Chief of Development, is a builder that can meet the costs of affordable housing in New York. They do a lot of projects with HPD and HDC. If anybody can do any affordable housing in New York, we ought to be able to, because we don't have a high acquisition price and we have a construction price that is right in there with what is acceptable to HPD and HDC. Second part of that secret sauce is that if we were building a brand new industrial building, the cost might be prohibitive. But here we're adding on to an existing building. So we don't have a lot of the infrastructure costs that you would have in a new construction. We already have water service, electric service, gas service in the building. We have an elevator. The design is to use those existing services, existing elevator, the existing water and gas services, existing sprinkler system that we would just expand. So that's why we can keep costs low on the construction side for the industrial piece. Otherwise, if we didn't have that and also we were planning on doing it at the same time. So the whole cost of mobilization and demobilization of our workforces to do the construction, we would save it and have an economy of scale by doing both the industrial and the commercial and the residential at the same time. So that's how we can keep our costs low and that we can make the project economically feasible.
So the answer to Robert's question would be no, to the question that Robert originally asked. Hello?
Yep. Annie, you're muted.
I think Mr. Camacho asked, like, how are we in conversation with HPD? And we are. I think the answer as to when we would be funded by HPD is still unclear, just because of the last year. But we've been in conversation with HPD. We've gotten no commitments, project commitments, but we are working in collaboration with them further.
There's one more part to it.
So if we change the zoning and we give you what it is, and then HPD doesn't fund you, and then what?
Well, that lot, the rear yard is still, it's a mixed use. It's mixed use zoning. And so it could carry on the way it has for the last 20 years with Matt and Getz operating the facility just as they have for the last 20 years.
And the manufacturer?
The manufacturing stays manufacturing. That's not rezoned. The manufacturing building will remain M, no R. There's no mixed use on that. The manufacturing remains manufacturing.
Yeah, but you're adding an addendum to it and you want to change from M1 to M15, and you are changing the zoning.
Sorry, I meant we're not changing it away from manufacturing. Yes, that would, well, if we,
Exactly, you're changing the zoning, I understand what you're saying, and then it doesn't go through. The house, the zone is already changed, because the board already put the vote through, and you can do what you want without it.
so the manufacturing building would just allow for more manufacturing.
Now, with M15, if you change the zoning, you won't. You'll be doing what you do, but now with market rate housing, because now you're gonna go other places in order for you to create mandatory inclusionary housing, would be but to add on to your building. Now, my question to you is, if there's no funding, then it stays the way it is.
So if I can make a suggestion, and just a reminder for everyone to mute when you're not speaking, there is some feedback. So to the board for these concerns, and I'm sorry, please mute yourselves, thank you. So as you just mentioned, Mr. Camacho, if there is no funding, then there is no change, right? So these are stipulations. Also, if there is funding, if this is contingent on funding, that can also be a stipulation. So the project moving forward, remember, this goes to the borough president afterwards, city planning commission, as well as the city council. So this is a lengthy process, 7-month process. So that being said, before we get to the very end, we need to be clear, the board needs to be clear on those stipulations, one of those being funding, and then a commitment from the developer potentially for what happens if that funding is not there. That's just food for thought, something to consider. And if folks can bear with me one moment, I know we've had others join via phone. I want to make sure we have all of our board members able to speak. Just give me 1 second so I can make sure I have them unmuted. All right, just be ready. I have a 917620.
That's me.
917
Hi, that's Veronica.
Okay, got you, Veronica.
I'm muting myself now.
Okay, yeah, you control your volume now.
Yes.
All right. I also have, one moment, 718919. 718919.
That's me, Carlotta.
Oh, got you, Carlotta. You can mute yourself now.
Okay.
All right. I also have 908962. I believe this is Miss Mary. Is that you?
Yes, this is me.
Okay, all of you can control your sound now. Continue. Any other comments, questions from board members?
Yeah, I had a question. When you guys first started out, you were talking about the economic development impact or the economic impact because of your construction or you're putting this stuff here. Was it because of the extra manufacturing that you thought that you would have an economic impact? Is that the only way that you see having an economic impact?
I think that was, well, I think I look at it in 2 ways, and Getz, you may look at it differently. In addition, we will be providing more space for manufacturing jobs. And also we think that there's a positive economic impact by providing affordable housing. And so I think that we're both providing affordable working spaces to create more jobs, and we're also creating affordable housing for people to live more affordably within the neighborhood.
Okay, but hopefully you're going to get HPD funds, and I didn't see anything in this proposal that mentions local hires or any MWBE compliance or any of that stuff. I didn't see that sort of economic development plan, how your construction and the activities that you are doing can directly affect the community in which you're building.
Yep.
And if you're using HPD money, it should have been somewhere within that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a little bit speaks to just where we are in the process. But Bill and I have had very high WBE participation on all of our projects. To be fair, there's a requirement that at HPD that you meet at least, I believe it's 25% of your workforce needs to be MWBE certified in New York City. And Jill and I have both met and exceeded that on all of our projects. We're currently working on a project now that's 35% MWBE participation. So HPD will require that participation. It's also something that we prioritize as a business. So we're just a bit far from construction to make that personal commitment, but that's a project commitment with HPD.
Okay, but I think a personal commitment we would look for is that when you are doing that procurement, that you look at the list and you find people within the zip code first, try to get
100%.
them to help
Yep.
them bid on the project. That way, there is a direct economic impact in the area that you're building. That's what I'm
We
trying to get
completely,
to.
we completely agree with that. And we will have a strategy for hiring both of individuals and for companies within the area.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Can I make, this is Jamie Wiseman, can I make one quick comment? I mentioned this at the Housing and Land Use Committee meeting. I do want to say that it was a very conciliatory process. They did come back to us a lot and try to shape their proposal to make it more in line with what the community wants. So I wanted to kind of make that point because that does stand in contrast to what I've seen from other groups who try to just jam the ULURP through. The other thing I wanted to mention is the kind of nightmare Rheingold scenario. I want to just mention that I think it's less likely in this scenario for the reasons that the developer stated, but also because there's going to be a sunset of the Affordable New York program in June of 2022. And so if a buyer of this parcel with a rezoning would have to wait until, the 7-8 month process for the ULURP, and then would have to redesign and permit a rental building, a market, rental building under that abatement, and they wouldn't have enough time to do that. And so even if you do the bad group scenario, I think it would be very hard for them. Their closest path to a successful project and a financial return is probably through a financing with HPD and not through a sale because of the sunset of the tax abatement.
We just want to be safe, Jamie. We want
You should mention it.
Yes.
I'm saying condos could still be allowed, and I don't think that's not who these people are.
Okay.
I just want the record to reflect what one person thought of what the viability of this would be. That's all. You're right, Mr. Chairman.
If I could just bring, this is Getz speaking. If I could just address the whole question of local hiring, because I think that's really important. And if you look at one of the projects we did that had absolutely no local hiring requirements was the redevelopment of an old theater on 1155 DeKalb Avenue into the EBC Bushwick High School. In that project, we were approached by Monsignor Powis, part of the East Brooklyn Churches group, to see if we could help out with a project that was basically defunct. Whoever they were working with couldn't manage to pull it together. He approached me because he knew the work that we had done. We resurrected that project and put in about $11 million worth of renovation to convert that building into a school. And we worked directly with Monsignor Powis, the East Brooklyn Churches, and a variety of churches that are part of that group to get people to work on that project. And they were great workers. And a lot of them, many of them, stayed with us and with our subcontractors. They were fantastic folks. And so even projects that we don't have a governmental requirement for, M or WBE, we still work with the local community because it works for us. People have a lot easier job getting to the job site, and they have connections into the community. It makes it a safer, more secure project, and generates local support.
We have a community request to go back to the slide that had the breakdown of the units with the cost.
I'll get to that slide right now. Thanks.
I also have someone that joined with the 917701 number. 917701.
That's the
Are you there? Asire? Got you, Asire. You can control your sound now. Any other questions, comments on this item?
Hi, this is Louisa Chan. I was just wondering if you can speak a little bit about the parking situation, and if that's already been covered, then never mind. Well,
I'm happy to go back there. So yeah, we are asking for a waiver for parking. As I noted earlier, in order for this project to be attractive to HPD and meet their guidelines, we were required to have a minimum units of 100 units. And at 95 units, we're just squeaking by to meet that requirement. And so we basically prioritized affordable housing over parking. And we did so respectfully. We know that parking is a real need in the community and very much desired. We just simply couldn't make the project work to provide the necessary amount of affordable housing units and parking.
got it. Thank you.
I have a question from the public asking about how many units at each income tier.
Okay, so I'm gonna just give me a second and I'll go back a slide. Wow.
Sure.
So this slide breaks down the percentage of units into AMIs. Sorry, when I touch it, it goes. All right, I'm not gonna mute myself.
All right. Anyone else?
I was quickly wondering if you could speak to why you decided to use a special use district instead of just flipping or keeping the zoning the same, or residential or manufacturing.
Is it question why we don't have the same zoning over the whole lot, or why we switched from an, because yeah, is that the question?
Yeah, or just why you decided to use an MX for those specific lots.
You know, that came out of a conversation, I think, both with the community and the council member. You know, I don't actually, Getz, do you remember how we got to an MX? I think that it certainly, that MX district allowed us to build affordable housing, but it didn't do away with the manufacturing. And I think that there was a desire to make sure that both things were indeed possible at some point, given the mixed use nature of the community. Instead of just looking at M to R, everyone thought it was more aligned with community zoning to have it be an MX district.
Okay. What is it?
This is Getz. Another way of expressing that same thought was city planning felt that this was a transitional area between the residential and the manufacturing, so they thought an MX was more appropriate. I don't think it was much deeper than that.
Good. Anne, I see you. Go ahead.
Yes, this is a question from someone in the community who had sent it to me, so I'll pass that on. That if you can speak to how the manufacturing will be memorialized, and that both the rates, the rental rates for the manufacturing spaces, and then the uses will be indeed manufacturing and not sort of over time slide into sort of more general commercial types of spaces, and what that mechanism will be.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's part of why the zoning is a little messy on this site and why we didn't want to create an MX across this whole site. we wanted the manufacturing district to stay manufacturing, which is why we have kept it as M15 and no commercial overlay, nothing else. It's just a manufacturing building. And so, as we stated, for the last 20 years, we've had the same types of tenants, and that's our goal moving forward. I think, you know, this project, you can see from the renderings, we're not intending to make it a glitzy building. We're keeping an existing workhorse manufacturing building and adding an addition to it. And so just the nature of sort of what we're able to invest in this project, and we think it's going to be great manufacturing space, but it's going to be designed and built as light manufacturing space. And we are going to comply with all the use requirements of a manufacturing district. So I think both by design and by zoning, the M15 portion of the building will stay solidly manufacturing.
So it sounds like the zoning designation is the primary sort of enforcement mechanism.
Yes, as it has been for the last 20 years. Yep.
I have a few other questions from the community. Someone has asked, is gas and heat included in the rent?
Getz, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, I just had to unmute myself. Yes, gas, both heat, hot water is part of the rent. And I believe cooking gas may also be included in that number as well. The tenants pay their own electric, of course. But other than that, all the gas is included in the rent level.
Okay, and I also have a few other questions. Someone has asked, what does it mean mixed income for this development?
So I'll go back to the slide. The way that this building is designed is to meet a range of AMI levels. So folks earning at 40% of less than AMI all the way up to 130% or less of AMI. I printed out, as folks have asked in the past, sort of where those, how those are. Gosh, I need to find this piece of paper. So for instance, a family for, oh gosh, I'm not sure if I'm going to read this right. Well, published on the HPD website is how those AMIs are calculated. So like for a family size of 2 people, the income for 40% AMI for 2 people is $36,400. And so if you look at our first line item that says 10% of units less than 40% of AMI, for instance, in the 40% of AMI bucket, you've got a family of 2 at less than 36,400. If you go for a family of 2 at 60% of AMI or less, that's currently $54,500 for a family of 2 at 60% of AMI. And for a family at 90% of AMI, it's $81,000. So for a family of 2, so that should give you sort of a range of how those AMIs increase in relationship to a couple, 2 people income.
Got it. Thank you. And we also have another follow-up question about new business. How much new business do you anticipate? Has it been advertised already?
Sorry, for the manufacturing side of things?
Correct.
Well, listen, that's another crystal ball. We are pleased to see the economy beginning to bounce back. And correct me if I'm wrong, Getz, I don't think you've lost any tenants over the course of the last year. And so I think we're looking forward brightly to the future.
Celeste, is there a year cap or something in regards? Is like there are 30 years, 40 years? Is there a cap in regards to the affordability or anything in regards to the funding?
I think in regard to the residential, it's permanent affordability.
Yep.
In the manufacturing, we generally do 15-year leases with options to renew because for a factory or manufacturer to locate in anywhere, including in our building, they have a significant investment that they have to make in equipment, in adapting this space for whatever they're building, whatever they're making. And so generally they're going to want long-term leases to justify the investment they have to make in their space. So our leases are usually 10 to 15 with an option to renew. That's typical.
Final comments, questions from everyone?
I have a question. My name is Mary. Now, what I do not understand is that we do not get a report about how many people come from the community. Because if you have people coming from the community to do a job in a building, then that should be where that we as community members should be aware of how many people that were hired on this project and how many from out of town that are drive cars in here, being we don't have space for the people to park, but these people drive cars in here, and therefore then my son would not be able to get the job because the one that come from New Jersey got it.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I think that that's one of the basic tenets of the project is to create affordable living and working neighborhoods so that people don't have to leave their neighborhoods to get good jobs. And so while I hear—
May I just say that is the problem. That is what you're telling us now. That's not, the problem is when they get these jobs, they don't hire the people from the community. They bring these other people in and they get the jobs. If the young man can't work on the building and then afford to live in the building, then it's not affordable housing. That's my mathematics. But then I'm a senior citizen because you see, they even changed the mathematics around now.
Well, this is Getz speaking, and I think the advantage you have here is that we have done a lot of projects, affordable housing projects in Bushwick, in central Brooklyn, throughout Brooklyn and throughout the city. And we'd love it for you to take a look at any of those projects as to the ones that we own and operate, the ones that we've sold to homeowners, and to talk to the people in the community to see what happened during the construction. Did we hire a lot of local people? And that would be a great piece of due diligence that I know that some of members of the community board have already done, the councilman has done, to make sure that we're the kind of people that we say we are.
All right, last comments now. I just have one note that I will make. Someone sent me a message regarding the impact on parking for teachers at the school. So I know this was referenced before. We all know that parking is an issue in the neighborhood. We know the plan for this project as it relates to parking, but just wanted to note that was a concern from someone regarding the teachers.
Yeah, before you move on, this is Minister Don Baxter from the Bushwick Family Ministries. I just wanted to piggyback off on the comment that was asked pertaining to the percentage amount of locals that are being hired to these positions. I don't think I got an answer to that. I didn't think I heard that. I did hear that if we ask other people that are involved, then they can tell us. But is there a statistic out showing out of all the buildings and projects that took place in Bushwick, what percentage of those projects that our community persons or people were hired? Is there a percentage that one could tell us tonight how many people in our local areas are being hired or were hired?
My name is Mary. That was part of my question, and that was
right.
Exactly what I want to know.
But because I didn't get the answer.
Because they beat around the answer. They did not answer it outright.
I'd like to answer it outright. And the data that we're required to keep has to do with certified MWBE subcontractors. And we always, in every project, we exceed the minimum 25%. We go as much as 40% with local MWBE subcontractors. We're not privy to addresses of the individual employees of individual contractors, subcontractors, but we know that when we start a job in a community, we have an office site, whether it's a trailer or an office in an existing building, and that's where people from the neighborhood that are interested in working on the construction piece of it come, and we hire as many as we can. But we don't have data on specifically how many people from the community board 3 and 4 are on the job.
Okay, I would like to make a suggestion going forward, because you're still beating around the bush. We would like to know going forward. We'd like to know going forward that when we get together to hear from our persons of building and coming to our neighborhood and just building and making the money, we would like to also know how many people from the community. We know the contractors. We know you sub to all the different contractors. We know that. But within all that, we want to know what is the percentage of our community men and women that are being hired through these contractors. We need to know that the next time we meet pertaining to our community. Because I can't recall hearing people in my community or even from my local churches talk about they got a job from a building up the block that they're building, or down the block that they're building. When I look at the type of colors that I see building, it don't represent my community. So I'm just asking going forward that become a part of our reporting when we're talking about building and structure.
And
Maybe, this is Camacho speaking. Maybe we can, when they already start the job or they're about to start the job, that they can give applications or forms to the community board office, and we'll send leaflets out and make sure that they do hire from within. Sometimes we have to go on beyond and make sure that they do hire from within the community, because you're 100% right. We have the site now that I'm trying to get numbers to see how many people from within the community are working, and there's still next to the elected officials and find out why is it I haven't got numbers in regards to the RAD program, which it used to be the old housing development, and find out how many people from within our community, or how many managers or supers that they employed, and as of now I haven't had any. So maybe we should make sure that if he does get this or we vote on this, that be one of the speculations that he'll turn around and give us applications and forms so we can fill out and send our kids to the area to get jobs, and put them on a spot.
And this has nothing to do with people's name and address and phone numbers. They go in the police departments and their statistics. They don't put names and addresses. And I think the same thing could be done in construction or however they're hiring people. We don't need names and numbers. We just need to know how many people within the community is being hired.
So Jill and I are working. Yeah, and Jill and I are working on a project right now in the Bronx where we have put together a local hiring plan. And not only do we work with the community board to do that, we also work with local not-for-profits to do what's called job readiness training. And so that's part of what we do as builders anyway. And so putting together a local hiring plan per what Getz is saying is something we'd be happy to do and share with you moving forward.
Thank you so much.
Yep. And just a few notes. So I've been receiving messages. We have to move on for time constraints. We do have another public hearing item. But Reverend Baxter, if you don't mind, I just want to make sure, because technically, I believe, did you call in this evening? Are you 917-630?
Yes, I did call in because I couldn't get on the web. It's saying that it's down. It's not running. So yes, I did call in Don Baxter, Bushwick Family Ministries.
Understood. 917-620, correct?
917-620-8436, and I'm a member of the Clergy Council, 83rd Precinct.
Noted. Okay, so technically all attendees, so you'd be considered an attendee, are usually muted, but I'll let you control your sound since you were already unmuted, okay? So just make sure you keep an eye on it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so another note.
Now.
Thank you. I have a few other folks that have joined over the call. And then just a reminder for everyone, some context this evening. These presentations, these discussions, the board is an advisory body. The board advises all presenters on all proposals, and the board makes recommendations that are based on these discussions. So I think that a lot of the questions this evening, think about them as well as recommendations, right? So, I know we're asking, what's the percentage of folks being hired, but if there's something that the community wants to see, if they want 50% or more of the individuals hired, that could be a recommendation that the board makes. So just wanted to give that for a frame of reference. We also had someone suggest, as Annie, I believe, mentioned as well, partnering with a workforce development organization. We know Riseboro has workforce development, St. Nick's has workforce development. There are different organizations within the community that do this work. So just wanted to put that out there. I will defer to the board if there are any final comments. Otherwise, we can move on to the second public hearing item. Board members?
Let's move on.
Okay. Thank you to our presenters this evening. We will certainly follow up and make sure you have a record of all of the recommendations. And you're more than welcome to stay with us this evening, although we understand if you have to go.
No, we want to thank you. And again, it's been a number of years that we've been in front of you. And so we truly appreciate all of your feedback. It really makes for better projects and a better city. So we appreciate your time and your thoughts.
All right. So moving us on now, we have our second agenda item for our public hearing. Just give me one moment. I'm going to make sure the Sanchez family is able to unmute themselves. All right.
Hi, community board.
Cyrus, yes, and Melanie, whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
I'll go first. I just wanted to thank you guys, the community board, again for pushing this along and just even considering this for us. It's an honor. Just the vote of it is an honor to have our father's name on the street post, and then I think, I know that he would have really loved that, and just the idea of it would have really just blown his mind. And just thank you for this.
And for everyone to know, this is a street co-naming request for Gates Avenue and Myrtle Avenue in memoriam of Carmelo Sanchez. The family came before the board's Civic, Public Safety, Religious Committee last week, and they shared testimony. They were joined by neighbors. Again, this is another opportunity for family and neighbors to share similar testimony, so that way the full board knows what was discussed that evening. Any other words or comments? This is the time.
I can just share a little bit more about what I said last week, just for anyone who wasn't available to hear. This is an ask by the community and the family to co-name the corner of Gates and Myrtle Avenue in honor of Carmelo Sanchez. He was a big community advocate. He was an investor in many local businesses. He was a business and property owner who was such a helping hand in the community. He hosted for a number of years a turkey drive where he gave away over 100 turkeys to families in need in the neighborhood. He did school supply drives and toy drives, and was truly someone who the neighbors could rely on as someone who could keep projects moving along on the block, safety on the block. I'm trying to think. He was someone who, within his space and within his efforts, was able to gather people and keep people just keep this block afloat. And he lived on this block throughout his entire life.
And sorry if people can hear my neighbors. Just a second.
If you want, I could take over. It's okay.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Like my sister was saying, he loved Bushwick and he loved Gates and he loved everyone on it, and it's why he tried his best to keep his dollar on the block and try to invest in anyone he believed in, and he did his best to just protect and keep everyone safe. And I think that it was something that was felt by everyone, even if it was someone that just knew him for a day. You know, they all could see his enthusiasm with the community and the people that lived there, and his love, his real love for the block. And you know, this means a lot. And like I said before, this would have meant a lot to him. And I think that for the family, obviously this is, you know, big, you know, but just the community overall, like, it's a good way for them to, you know, to remember him, you know, to know that this is the block that he held down, that he took care of. And that's something that will never go away. Whether the sign is there or not, that'll never go away. So I really do thank the community board for even considering this. It's a big honor for us as a family and for the block. And I thank you.
Celeste, I'm gonna take my hat off, because I know these their kids aren't as you see their father was a blessing in this community. He was born and raised in Bushwick. If everybody knows the car wash place on Gates, that's his father's. He has a couple of stores and stuff. On turkey drives, he gave people for turkey for many, many years. He does a school book supply for the kids for many years. Born, raised, business, and gave the kids, the people in the community, what they needed, and he was humbled. And just to tell you the kind of person this man is. When he went to the hospital, I didn't go to the wake, but people told me, and I know him very well. In his dying, he said that he wants to make sure that the people in Bushwick get the turkeys. That was his wish. He specifically told them, do the turkeys and do the stuff I used to do. You know, for a father to tell their kids to keep their memory going and keep them working, that tells you something about this man. And I want to thank them for coming to us, to the committee, and requesting that. And it should be an honor. And you guys should go there and see the place and know what it's like. His employees that he had for so many years, and he brings services back to this community. So we thank you, your sisters and you guys are humble. I'm gonna go over there and visit you guys, but it's so hard with all these meetings and the pandemic. I wanted to go over there and see you to make sure. I'm telling you, don't sell your place. Don't leave Bushwick. Don't get out. You kids need anything, please, we can make it happen, because a lot of times family break up, things happen, and all they see is dollar signs. We want to make sure that you keep him in your heart and make sure that you keep whatever it is you need to do for Bushwick there to give services, that you stay there. Because a lot of times people, I know we have families and things that occur in our lives, and we can't, and they sell their homes and then they can't come back. And your father's been born and raised here, so you know, he made a living and he raised you guys. So you really need to make sure that Bushwick stays Bushwick. So we want to thank you, and we hope that this board pushes through. I'm gonna put my hat back on as the chair. You like my hat, right, guys? So I hope that you guys push this through and make it happen for these kids. For his father, he was born, raised, owned businesses. I never saw or name of someone that was born, raised, had a business, came back to this community, and continued to live in Bushwick. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments from board members?
Well, I don't know. This is Mary. I don't know the man, but I say ditto. Let's push this through so this man's corner can be recognized forever.
And just to address, so I did receive a question, and I receive this question often, what are the qualifications for street co-naming? That being said, the board has a history of reviewing these requests. For detailed information on the process, you can go to the board's website. So we do ask for a biography to be sent to the board, and it has to happen posthumously. A justification and a rationale for the street co-naming goes along with that, as well as a list, a petition. 65% of the block has to know and has to sign for the street co-naming. And it's typically for individuals that have distinguished themselves in some way, shape, or manner in service to their community. And so we heard about that this evening, and we know exactly why the street request is being made. Okay. If there are no other comments at this time, we can close this public hearing item. Going once, going twice. Thank you to the family members for joining us. Same as with our committee meeting, you're welcome to stay, or we understand if you have to go. However, we will end our public hearing item now, and we will commence with our regular meeting for this evening. Thank you.
Thanks again, committee work.
All right. So now we'll move on to our regular meeting agenda. Starting with our first roll call, board members, please be ready. And just bear with me. I appreciate your patience while I navigate the different pages required to do our attendance in this day and age. I also want to make sure I have everyone that's on this evening written down. I have some phone numbers that I have to cross-reference. I have a 646-643. 646-643.
That's Gladys.
Gladys, got you, Gladys. Thank you. You can control your sound now.
Yes.
All right. And there were a few folks that I had to mute, and I apologize because there was some interference earlier. So I have 917-334. I believe this is Jamie. All right. Just
That's me. I got disconnected. Yeah, it's me.
No problem. I'm muting you now. And I also have 718453. This is Mr. Fowler.
Yes.
All right. You're muted. And there's an echo, which is why I had to mute you earlier. So if you can just mute yourself when you're not speaking, it'll be easier. And then anonymous is Reverend Yates. I got you. All right.
You got me?
Yeah. So yeah, I haven't started the roll. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure everyone was unmuted.
Okay.
All right, just keep in mind for those that are on the phone, you are unmuted. All right. Our roll call now, Reverend Grace Yates.
Hello?
I got you. You're present. Josh Brown.
Present.
Darrell Brown.
Present.
Robert Camacho.
Present.
Cartier Caphart.
Present.
Melissa Carrera.
Here.
Felix Ceballos. Louisa Chan.
Present.
Andrew Troy.
Present.
Daniela Davi. Alvina Davis.
Present.
Victoria Fernandez. James Fitzgerald. Freddie Fowler.
Present.
Igadi Gomez.
Present.
Ann Guiney.
Present.
Reverend Migdalia Gutierrez.
Present.
Thank you. Jose Guzman.
Present.
Isha Hagan.
Present.
Barbara Jackson.
Here.
Got you. Kristen Jock.
Present.
Cheryl Jones is excused. Fergie Jones. Luisa Jose. Mary McClellan.
Here.
Desmond Monroe.
Present.
Amy Namir Olivares. Zuma Novoa.
Present.
Sire Polite.
Present.
Gladys Puglia. Raul Rubio,
Present.
Salinas, Vernie Di Michelle,
Present.
Vincent Sonborn,
Here, present.
Annette Spellin is excused, Trey Valentine,
Present.
Carlotta Williams,
Present. I'm here.
got you. James Wiseman,
Present.
Olaf Wright.
Zalet,
Yes,
I'm Felix Ceballos. I wasn't mute. I'm sorry.
no problem. I'll mark you as present. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just one moment while I count present this evening. Thirty board members present, that constitutes a quorum. Thank you, everyone. And before I move on, Tyler, I apologize.
Hello.
I'm just gonna mute, so that way we don't have to echo.
Hello.
Yes,
This is Ebony.
yes.
I'll have to jump off about 5 minutes to 8 because I have a church meeting. Okay.
Okay, no problem. I've made a note of that. Thank you for letting me know, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So moving on with our agenda now. We have acceptance of the agenda. Is there a motion from the board?
I'll motion.
Make a motion.
Name, please.
Andrew Choi, sorry.
Thank you. Second?
Second motion.
Okay, Reverend Yates, second. All in
Yes.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Aye. So moved. Moving on now to agenda item number 3, previous meeting minutes. The minutes were not prepared. We are short-staffed this month. However, we are working to get them to you as soon as possible. Is there a motion to table the previous meeting minutes?
Alvina Davis tabled the previous minute.
Jose Guzman, seconds.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Moving on now to agenda item number 3, which is the agenda item number 4, which is our chairperson's report. Mr. Camacho.
Happy holidays, all of you. Whatever you celebrate, may God bless us and be together. We know we can't be together the way we want to, but that's why I wore my hat and my little tie. So like that, y'all can see I have my Christmas thing on, you see? Camacho. No, I don't have shorts on, I have long pants. So, also, in regards to the epidemic, we need to, we're getting there, and we have to fight tougher, but we're going to be there. We're going to have a good year. I know we will, and we need to be we're going to come back stronger than ever before. So we hope that everyone stays safe. I know it's a holiday season. We want to make sure that you stay with your family, your immediate family that you have home. And if someone coming to visit you in your house, make sure they put a mask. If they don't want, tell them to go back home. Because we want to make sure that all the board members and all our seniors and everyone are safe. We really need to keep it safe and make sure we're all here. Because every time something happens, the community like ours suffers. So we got to be more and more together. I also, I have a long meetings that I went. It's good that we do this Zoom like that because I can get on my phone, listen to a meeting, and if it's at the same time, I can get on the computer, mute myself, listen to whatever it is there, do my notes in. So I have been working. It's been crazy in this room. On Monday, November 23rd, I was at the EPTC PR committee. On Tuesday, November 24th, the House and Land Use. 1001 Bushwick is gone. 1001 Bushwick is gone. We need to save Bushwick, guys. We really do. those homes and those family homes in our family is gone. All it's going to see in Bushwick now is renters. They're not going to be any owners. So we really need to stick together and hold our property and do something. We need to work together, and we also have to do a community trust. We got it. Something's got to be done, man, because we're going to wind up losing Bushwick Avenue, and it's going to look like Manhattan. So Tuesday, December 1st at 12, there was a press conference in front of 1001, and Guiney, myself, elected officials were there. We couldn't save it, but we tried. We need to do something, guys. I don't know what it is, but we all need to do something together. We need to fight this. On Wednesday, December 2nd, executive board meeting. Thursday the 3rd at 5 p.m. sanitation work group task force. On Thursday at 6 p.m. 1001, we had another meeting in regards to 1001 and what we can do in regards to letter. And obviously the building is gone now. And I don't know how true it was. I heard that the family members were having problems in regards to paying the bills within the families, and they wind up selling it to this developer, I think for dead cheap. That's what I heard. I'm not too sure how true it is, but that's what I heard. On Friday, December 4th, the economic development call at 2:30 to straighten, implement grants and opportunity for small business with Evergreen Exchange. On Monday, December 7th at 2:30, from 2:30 to 4:30, the workshop on a community board conflict of interest resolution. On Monday, December 7th at 6 p.m., COVID holiday relief roundtable in Brooklyn North. On Tuesday, December 9th, 4:30 p.m., the borough board meeting. On Tuesday, the 9th at 6 p.m., the PLC committee. They're going to give you license and permits that they're going to have 97 Wyckoff, the homeless, it's there. So they want to get a community advisory board together. So make sure that's the shelter, the men's shelter that on Marissa Davila's block, the further block over on, what's that, Hart? 97 Hart, Wyckoff on the corner. So that's open. They're looking for board members to get on the advisory board. On December 9th at 10:30, CB4 District Service Cabinet meeting. On Thursday, December 10th, I had the RAD meeting, and they were talking about property management, the hours. They noticed that the location is closed because I think the office location is being moved. The mailboxes, they don't want them to put their checks in the mailboxes to pay the rent because there's someone stealing it. Information to the residents of the construction timeline, the roof during leaks, during replacement. They were replacing the roofs. It was leaking. Floor tiles popping up. There was a lot of people, they were saying they were renovating. Some of the floors were popping up because of the glue. So there was a lot of complaints about that. Appliance being replaced and repaired. Section 3 employment counting of all the areas. And that's what I wanted them to give me. They didn't give, they said they'd get back to me, which is the Section 3 law with them hiring employees from within the community. So I need to see how many people from our that work there. And then on Thursday, December 10th, CB4 Civil Public Safety and Religious Committee. On Tuesday the 15th at 11, the Bushwick Community Partnership. I was on a call with them. On Wednesday, December 16th at 10, CB4 District Budget Consultation at DOE. The chairperson will speak in regards to what's going on with in District 32. It's it'll be a rough time for our kids in our schools, man. I'm telling you that. Bushwick, we need to support our schools, man. We really do. the Youth and Education Committee Chair will speak up on that. On Wednesday, the 16th at 11, I was at the Clergy, 8th Precinct Clergy Council. At 12 o'clock, I was with the RS with Alexandra. I'm not too sure if you remember her, Alexandra. She's doing what they're going to do, the racial impact study regards and what they want to do on the ULIP application. So they're creating a law that they're trying to put together and push through city council. So let's see if that works, meaning before they do anything, they want to do a racial impact study to see what racial impact they'll do to the community. And today is the full Wednesday, the 16th, full board meeting. And those were all my meetings. Thank you.
Yes, and yes.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. All right. I do want to share that we are joined this evening. We have the next council member for the 37th district with us. Just give me one moment. Dharma, you're able to control your sound. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
All right, I apologize, but there's a lot going on at the same time. I actually have 3 devices going on. I'm happy to be here tonight. I'm definitely looking forward to working with you all. As you all know, I consider myself to be a Bushwickite. I moved into Bushwick at the age, or I say 10, and moved out at the age of 19, where I've been living in Cypress Hills, East New York. But definitely my commitment is there. I know you have a long agenda. Camacho, smile. I want to have your attention. There you go. There you go. I'll be brief. And I know that there's a lot to be said. I reached out, Karen Cherry, the new chief of staff. She reached out to Celeste, and I'm hoping Robert got the message. I want to be able to meet, with both of you, and then trickle down to having meetings with the committees. I really want to know where your heart is, what's your agenda. I want to work with you on your vision for Bushwick. I know that it was 11 months without a member. A lot has happened, and I want to be able, again, to be part of moving forward in a progressive way. I want you to know City Bikes reached out to me last week, and quite frankly, I said, I'm not interested in meeting, but I know we're going to have to meet. I know for Bushwick, it's an eyesore, type conversation. I'm definitely not satisfied with the way City Bikes invaded Bushwick. I don't know, Camacho, if we're going to be able to undo some of what's been done with City Bikes, but I'm looking forward to a better, stronger conversation. City Bikes was looking to come in on Gates and Wyckoff, and I'm trying to delay that conversation till we're able to meet collectively and see what driving force we have to not have them there. My understanding is that there's a strong opposition to them being there. Is that so, Camacho? Right? For that location itself, if I may ask?
Yeah, Councilman, yes, and what it is not that we're opposed to that, is that what they want to do is put a rack in every block.
Right,
and what's going on is if there's one on Manningham, why put one on the next block on Linden? Why not take the one on Manningham that's not working, that they got there, that's not doing anything, and get the parking back, and put the one on Linden that they want? Then there's one on Grove, a block away from that one, on Myrtle. So they keep dumping them, and this is like a dumping ground. And what I'm telling City Bike is, and I'm trying to explain, is to say, like, okay, if this is working like you say it is, and the money's there, let's see your numbers. Let me see that it works and it benefits this community. One, let me see that you're bringing jobs and bringing it, and that the people in Bushwick have the jobs to maintain it clean, because you putting all these things in there and you can't control it, and we don't know where the money's going. So I inquire that we need to see. It's not that we don't want them. If their service is good and the people, but they keep dumping everywhere to see if it's a hit or miss. They got one on Kosciuszko. doesn't work, nothing there by the school. Got one on the library, doesn't work, nothing there. So why are they doing these things? We need to see the number, and if it makes money, if it benefits what it's supposed to be doing, my God, they can make money. You could put tons of them there. But if it doesn't work here, why don't you franchise the people in the parking and the area and the things? We need, that's what I'm saying. We're not saying we don't want them. We're saying, mind you.
Makes sense. I'm just saying it makes sense where you put them.
Correct. Not only that, why don't they put it on Ridgewood side? It's only a block away. Why not across the street on Ridgewood? Everything is dumping here. We're always the dumping ground for them to try, but they don't give us nothing back. So I want to see the money. I want to see where it's going. I want to see if this bike track are beneficial, because they took city-owned land that we pay tax dollars and they gave it to City Bike. And City Bike is a private entity and they're making money. So they took our streets and they're making money. So I want to know if it's working. If it's working, let's see what we can do to make it. And if it doesn't work, then get it out and put it somewhere where it works. There's got to be areas that it works. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I don't want them. I'm not saying, because a lot of people do use some of them. We don't have a project anymore. Whole Garden is no longer a project. So you're going to dump all over that place. It's no longer a project. They don't have that. So we really need to see what it is they wanted. If it works, then it works. But if you got one on Manhattan, one on Linden, one on Grove, but yeah, you don't have one on Ridgewood across the street on Myrtle. Why? Every time they want to keep dumping, it's not that I don't want, they keep using Bushwick and then they laugh at us. And then we say we don't want it, guess what? Then they put it there more. And they'll do it more and more. And that's DOT, and I told them, and we sat and told them. So we really need to sit down together and do a strategy plan. Not that we don't want. If you put it, tell us where it works, where it benefits everybody, and let's work together. And that's all I'm saying.
Camacho, I agree. Joshua Brown. Since we have Dama here, Dama, what's your thoughts on tonight's ULURP and just where we should lean just as a community? Can we just have Dama's input?
Sure. I'm leaning, and we're talking about the 17 buildings that they're looking to convert into cooperative equity.
That was presented tonight, yeah.
349 Sedan.
I wasn't on earlier. I just got on, so I did not hear the presentation.
And Josh, technically this is in Councilmember Reynoso's district, just to know.
Yeah, no, so it's divided. We have 9 out of the 17. And I say we mean the 37 Councilmatic District does have stake in it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do. Yeah, but
they're talking about they're talking the one that's on Irving, and then he's not. I know you're talking about Hope Garden. No, we're not talking about. He's talking about the one that's on. They're requesting Irving and what's that, Wyckoff?
Oh, so then no, then I
it's separate. Yeah,
separate. I don't have an opinion. I'm sorry. I don't have an opinion because I'm not familiar with it. But definitely, Celeste, feel comfortable. And after tonight, it's going to be a long night for me anyway. Share the information with me.
Will do. And just to note, for anyone interested in the City Bike conversation, City Bike DOT is tentatively scheduled to come to the board's Transportation Committee next Monday. I believe that's the 21st. Yes, at 6 p.m. Please contact me in the board's office for the information. And I will pass that along to you, Councilmember. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I know you have a full agenda and I have to get back. So I'm actually on hold with the state, not to say the city council, and we're getting a briefing, a Department of Health briefing on what's expected and what's currently happening. And they're also talking about the homeless population and how it's going to affect. So I don't want to be disrespectful by chiming off, but I know I want to be able to get enough information out there for you all. On a good happy note, I want to know, how are we feeling about the lights on Bushwick Avenue, the Welcome to Bushwick?
Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. About time we got lights.
Yeah, we're shining stars. You know, we got to tell people. We have to beat it into it, Camacho. You know, till they understand that we're shining stars.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, this is a pilot. I've heard nothing but positive about it. For next year, I expect to expand more onto Bushwick Avenue. But I'm glad that, for now, you're happy that it's happening.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Definitely feel comfortable reaching out to me via Celeste, via Robert, or directly. Celeste, please forward the email address for staff. I'm calling you staff because you're volunteers to our society and our community. Okay, thank you. Anne, any questions for me? No. Okay.
Anyone? All right. We thank you for joining us this evening.
You're welcome, and I'll be a little more precise for the next one as we get our staff together as well. Before I get off, do community boards normally check with each other when they're gonna have meetings and even for the committee meetings? Only because Community Board 5 is also meeting at the same time that you are.
We talk, I don't say that frequently, but we certainly don't share schedules. So we talk about other issues that the community boards have. But unfortunately, I think scheduling is rather a complicated thing to try to coordinate, especially given that we likely have the same amount of committees per board. So I know we have a few conflicts with Board 16 as well for our district service cabinet. So we try to handle that to the best, of our ability. We understand that it stretches the representatives thin sometimes, but we appreciate everyone for always making the time to join us.
No, so I definitely, if I cannot be on, we'll always have a staff member be on. If there's a pressing issue that you must have me for, just reach out to me personally. You'll have my cell phone numbers. Get me, because I'm going to come on. But I just can't be at every meeting.
Will do. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good night. Stay safe.
You too.
Bye-bye.
All right. So moving on with our meeting now, after the chairperson's report.
I have a comment, Celeste.
Sure.
This is Mary.
Go ahead.
Now, on these city bikes, these bikes are on city property. Money is being obtained there, but yet they don't provide any safety mechanism for the people that ride those bikes. Now, those people that ride bikes are young people. When you fall off of that bike, you hit what? Your head. They need to include safety equipment with the rental of that bike for all people. That's my comment.
Thank you, Mary. Noted. And we will take that to
to come to the meeting if you want to.
Yes, I was going to say take that to the meeting on Monday, and I will share that information with everyone.
Okay.
All right. So moving on with our agenda now, we have the introduction of elected official representatives. I'm going to unmute you all at once, just so I don't have to keep scrolling back and forth on this list. So once I call your name, you'll be unmuted, and then you'll control your sound from then on. Just give me one moment. Jonathan Pomboza?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes.
Name and
Hi there.
contact info.
Got it. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jonathan Pomboza. I work in public engagement for the Kings County District Attorney, Eric Gonzalez. You could reach our office at 718-250-2340 for Action Center, and you can reach me directly at 718-250-2817. Thank you.
Thank you. Julio Salazar?
Good evening, everyone. Julio from Congressman Velasquez's office. We're still located at 266 Broadway, Suite 201. And you can give us a ring at 718-599-3658. Thank you, Celeste.
Thank you. Marcus Harris?
Hi, everyone. This is Marcus Harris, Special Assistant to Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams. I can be reached at 917-324-2680. We are located at 209 Girolamo Street. Thank you, everyone. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Taika Haraguchi?
Hi, everyone. This is Taika Haraguchi from Comptroller Scott Stringer's office. You can reach me directly at 917-594-2129.
Thank you. Andres Aguirre?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Andres Aguirre. Here on behalf of the Assemblywoman Maritza Davila, we can be reached at 718-443-1205. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so I believe I have everyone. If I've missed you accidentally, please just send me a message in the chat and I'll make sure you have an opportunity. And now, without further ado, I have our Deputy Inspector, Casaza. Just give me one moment. I'm going to see if we can make you a panelist so we can see you while you're speaking. All right. Can
Hi,
you
Celeste.
unmute yourself? Yes.
Yep.
Got it.
Good evening, everyone. So, it's been a tough year for us, here in the community in the A3 with COVID. As of late with this second wave, we've had 7 officers here in the 83rd precinct who have tested positive. Thankfully, everyone is doing better. Some of the officers are on the mend, but it's been a tough year. We've struggled this year with some crimes. We were pretty high ending the year with burglaries in the A3 precinct, as well as GLA, stolen cars. That's a pretty high increase of between 30 and 50%. So, part of my job here is now I'm looking back through the year to kind of analyze and identify these issues and these concerns and what we can do to kind of remedy them moving forward into 2021. I understand, quality of life is a huge concern, and it is a concern for me. I know it's important to everyone in the community, and it's something that I constantly think about and look at ways to fix on a daily basis. But, in just ending, this little part, I just wanted to thank everyone for their support. The community board, the community council, our community clergy in the A3 has been tremendous. And, the officers in the 83rd precinct, myself, we appreciate it. Without your support, we couldn't do the job that we do every day. But, I want everyone to know moving into 2021, I'm here for you. And I'll do my best to make sure that the Bushwick community stays safe. Thank you.
Inspector, I would like to thank you. Don't worry about it. Keep your head up high. You've been here. We've been here when it was worse than what it was when you were here. Don't worry about it. We're gonna make you shine. We're not gonna make you fall. We're gonna make you shine. Things occur. Things always happen, but it always happens to us. But we want to thank you, and we love you, and we want to make sure you're safe and the precinct is safe. Because without you guys, we wouldn't be here, and without here, you guys wouldn't be here. So we got to be a team, and everything will work out. We'll catch some knuckleheads that are doing it, and together we can make it happen.
Yeah, thank you, Kamaja. I appreciate that.
Any other questions, board members? All right. We thank you, Deputy Inspector, for joining us.
Okay, thank you, Celeste. Stay safe, everyone.
You too. All right. Moving us along with our agenda now. We have, and I know I didn't announce any community-based organizations. If you would like to speak and introduce yourself, I will get you an announcements just because we're short on time this evening, but please send me a message in the chat. I do already have a few folks noted who reached out to me before the meeting. So we'll move along now to the next item on the agenda, which is the district manager's report. That is my report. Just give me one moment to pull it up. Good evening and happy holidays to everyone. I hope you all are prepared for this week's winter weather. With the rapid rise of COVID cases and hospitalizations across the city, this is a reminder to take the necessary precautions to prevent further spread. I'm sure everyone has seen the news. I won't read all of this, but I've sent some information from the Department of Health in this report. There's also an update regarding the vaccine. For those of you that have been watching the news, you may know that the first COVID-19 vaccine has been authorized for emergency use, but it may not be available to the general public until mid-2021. You can visit the NYC Health COVID-19 vaccine webpage to stay up to date about what the city knows and what we are still learning about the vaccines. And please do your part to help prevent the spread of COVID-19 in NYC. Stay home if you're sick. Stay 6 feet away, physical distance, keep your hands clean, wear a face covering. All of these things are the things that we hear day in and day out, but they really do work and they help save lives, literally. Additionally, December marks the end of another year of meetings and events. We have all experienced a radical shift in our daily life due to the pandemic. However, some of our neighbors, both single adults and families, are more vulnerable than ever and than others. Throughout this month, there are usually outdoor festivities and toy giveaways that spread the holiday spirit and remind us of our shared commonalities. love of family, even if it's a chosen family, love for the season, and of course, the ever-present love of Bushwick, a neighborhood that many have come to call home. In the past month, we rallied and tried to save a historic mansion from demolition. You heard from Mr. Camacho a little bit about this earlier. Although we weren't able to save it from demolition, I'm happy to note today that we were able to work with our community network to save some of the historic elements. The stones now have a temporary home at 1420 Bushwick Avenue. It was on such a short notice, and we certainly thank our partners at Family Services Network for helping us out. We tried to get it to go to a park. We tried to get it to go to the emergency management warehouse. No one was accepting the stones until we spoke with Family Services Network and were able to turn this around. A very special thank you to Dina Alfano, a property owner on Bushwick Avenue, for all of her help with this. For those of you interested in preservation, please, please, please contact me. We are having a lot of discussions about this and hoping to keep the momentum going to prevent any other losses. You've also heard about the needs of our schools facing shocking budget deficits. We've heard from community members concerned about safety issues on their block. We've requested the Department of Transportation not only listen to our concerns, but sincerely work with us via the board's Transportation Committee to strategize a response to issues. Most principally, everyone I'm sure has heard about the death, the fatal tragedy that happened on Bushwick Avenue. And this isn't something that is new. We hear about these accidents happening all the time. And time again, we ask the department to work with us. We ask them to not just, listen to what we're saying, but to help us formulate a response. So we're not just reacting every time there is a crisis, but really planning for a safer future for everyone. Whether you're driving, whether you're a pedestrian, whether you're a cyclist, everyone deserves to be safe on the street, and specifically on Bushwick Avenue. We're also thinking about the future of community boards and how to better meet the needs of residents and stakeholders, as well as our agency and nonprofit partners. There's always a lot of work to do, although it is encouraging when I hear from youth, newcomers, and longtime residents alike asking, how can I help? I would like to express my gratitude to them and to everyone here this evening for caring about your community, caring about Bushwick. And it is with the holiday spirit in mind, although it shouldn't just be the holidays, that I encourage everyone to reach out to one another and check in. Many of us have fallen ill, have had loved ones get sick, and are dealing with all the pressures of navigating these new times. Check in with your elected officials, tell them about your concerns, not just when something is immediately affecting you, but in general. I often hear a tone of discouragement from residents, community leaders, and even colleagues, and I understand why. And, I thought about it like this earlier when I was writing this report, but essentially, when there's a mountain in front of you, it may seem impossible to move. However, if we all grab a bucket, imagine how much easier it becomes. The beautiful thing about this community, about Bushwick, is that you are not alone. We're always here for you. We might not be related by blood, but we are your community family. So I wanted to share that with everyone for our final meeting of the year. And below are the meetings and events that I've attended in the past month. I will not go through all of them. However, I will summarize some of the more interesting and important ones. And for a copy of my report, please contact me. I'm happy to share it. On Tuesday, December 1st, there was an introduction to a new web-based platform called Decidim. It was an invitation extended to me by the NYC Civic Engagement Commission. It's really exciting. They're planning to use this to start the participatory budgeting process that's part of their charter mandate in the city. And so they, shared examples from countries all over the world that have already taken advantage of the platform to find unique ways to interact with residents. And there was acknowledgement, right, that we are certainly living in a digital world, but that doesn't mean that we forget about the folks who don't have access or who don't use the computer. And so I really look forward to hearing more from them, and I encourage everyone to visit participate.nyc.gov to learn more. I've also been a part of the Bushwick Community Partnership governance team for a while. I believe it's been almost a year, if not longer. These meetings typically guide the Bushwick Community Partnership, which continues to meet on the third Wednesday of the month in the morning. And it's an opportunity for stakeholders, such as the community board, other local service providers, to come together and have a discussion about how we're servicing and meeting the needs of families. And often we think about it's a two-sided approach, both the family, both youth and the adults, because we may, care for the youth, but we have to care for the whole family when we think about service delivery. And I see those meetings as a form of professional development, not just for the community and for the parents that are receiving these services, but also for the stakeholders that are involved in these discussions. They're very informative. On Monday, December 7th, Mr. Camacho and I joined a Holiday Relief Roundtable. I want to thank Assemblywoman Davila for her leadership on this and making sure that we're not just having conversations in silos, but we're coming together to provide what's most needed to our families during the holidays. It's been noted that food is the #1 need in Bushwick, and we can certainly see it when we look at any of the food distribution sites, when we speak to any of our mutual aid partners. Food is certainly still a need in Bushwick. And on Tuesday, December 8th, on Tuesday, December 8th, we attended the Borough Service Cabinet meeting. There were presentations from the Department of Finance as well as the Consumer and Worker Protection. On December 9th, we hosted a District Service Cabinet meeting, and we had a great attendance: NYPD 83rd Precinct, NYC Emergency Management, the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, FDNY, Department for the Aging, Assemblywoman Davila's office, Department of Homeless Services, Department of Design and Construction, Assemblywoman Walker's office, National Grid, Department of Transportation, Department of Buildings. The list really does go on. I know Mr. Camacho even mentioned it to me afterwards. We get a great turnout in these meetings, and these are all relationships that we build with these agencies and offices for you, for the Bushwick community. So please, whenever there's something going on, or even if you want to know more about a program or anything that an agency is doing, don't hesitate to contact us. And on Thursday, December 10th, I had a call with Gabo Halili, who is a consultant regarding the Community Board Mapping Project. I've mentioned this in passing during these meetings, but we hope to launch in January a really great project. I'm super excited to be able to work on it, but it's essentially trying to map every single block out of 310 blocks in Bushwick. And as soon as someone signs up for our newsletter, we essentially highlight that block, and it's going to demonstrate how connected Bushwick really is. So do you know what's going on in your community? How informed are you? And challenge community members to become leaders, right? Making sure that neighbors have access to information as well about what's happening, whether it's on their block or just in the general area. And I also hosted the third district manager working group meeting. So citywide, there are 59 community boards, and I'm happy to report that we have all 5 boroughs represented on the email chain. Although we aren't always joined by district managers from every single borough, we have had thorough conversations about the challenges that community board offices face, that community board members face, and the needs that can help us better prepare for the future and to better serve our communities. And there's a lot more to be said, but I will leave it there. Thank you, everyone. That concludes my report.
Very nice, Celeste. I like it.
Thank you. As Mr. Camacho always says when I write things for him, that was my love letter to you all.
Yeah, she's always writing these big giant love letters. So thank you, Celeste. It was wonderful.
You're very welcome. And now moving us along to the next agenda item, we have our committee reports, starting with civic, public safety, religious, and transportation. Luisa, would you like me to summarize the entire meeting, or did you want to speak to the transportation portion?
Yeah, I can briefly speak to the transportation portion of it. We had Sergeant, I'm forgetting his name. 1 second. Sergeant Schwingle, who is from the 83rd Precinct. He attended our combined EBTS meeting with civics, and he did inform us that and provide a report on the traffic update in the neighborhood in terms of the types of tickets and summons that have been issued for an issue that we were complaining about, which had to do with trucks not using Bushwick Avenue as instead of the preferred and required truck routes. So he updated us on that, as well as the number of accidents and deaths But however, I think our committee did have a request to come back with more data related specifically to accidents and not just to deaths. And then in addition to that, we also, he provided an update regarding some of the traffic requests that they have made for any changes to signage and, I think it was crosswalks or other types of, similar kind of services, and that was rejected by the DOT. So we're following up with the 83rd for more specifics to that request, and hopefully following up with other elected officials and the Department of Transportation to ensure that the Bushwick community residents, needs are met. So that's it. And if there's anything I've left out, Celeste, please feel free to add to that.
That was great. Any comments, questions thus far, board members? All right. Hearing none.
Great. That was great.
Yeah.
But what it is that the PD requested some safety measures that needed to be in some streets, and they put in for it, and then DOT said no. So what we're trying to do is see what it was that they put in and the reason why they told them no, and maybe we could put pressure on DOT and force them that this is what we want. Hopefully that'll work.
Mr. Camacho, really appreciate that additional detail there.
Yeah, and we've already heard the item that was discussed during the public hearing. So we had the street code naming request, which was also presented to the committee. Everyone heard from the family earlier, so that summarizes the rest. There was no old business or new business just because it was such a long meeting, but we will continue the conversation next year. Any folks who have questions about whether it's civic, public safety, religious, transportation, please feel free to get in touch with us.
And please join your committees. Please, we need y'all to join your committees so we can have quorum and push the agenda forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. Next, housing and land use, Ann Guiney.
Sure, thank you, Celeste. So the Housing and Land Use Committee met our last meeting. We discussed the 349 Sudam Street ULURP application, which we went over in pretty good detail, but I think, so I can summarize our conversation and then we can come to recommendations later. So really what it was is they walked us through the very same presentation that they presented today. We asked a lot of questions. Most of our questions really revolved around affordability and the levels of affordability. 100% of AMI is pretty much market rate for Bushwick. So that was something we flagged as a concern. There was some concern also about memorializing the manufacturing status to make sure that unlike in other projects that we've seen where there's been either a bait and switch on the affordability or the uses, that this actually does stay as manufacturing and that it doesn't turn into a co-working space or, commercial stuff like that. So we asked a lot of questions about that. And then the parking also came up, absolutely. So there were a real range of things. It was a pretty wide-ranging conversation. After that, we had a presentation that was introduced by Alexandra Pati-Diaz and her colleague Kate Richards from Department of City Planning. What they were presenting on is the zoning for coastal and flood resiliency. This is an effort in DCP that was born after Hurricane Sandy, and that it turns out there was a lot of lessons learned from that rebuilding process. A lot of things went very poorly, some things went very well, some things went not quite as planned. So that would what they're really trying to do is focus on how to rebuild how to prepare flood zones and allow people to rebuild in them after. So CB4 is not in a flood zone at all. So we're actually, nothing in this actually revolves around us. but it is stuff that they wanted to make us aware of. So, so a lot of the things, let me just look through my notes. So a lot of it is geared towards things like power and energy systems. So for example, something like a solar generator is what is called a permitted obstruction. It might be hard to do unless you could actually get around it. So they're trying to allow, like, say, folks in Red Hook, which is very much in a flood zone, to be able to prepare themselves so when inevitably a big flood comes, they'll be okay. Bit was the idea of non-compliant buildings. How do you rebuild them? So for example, if your building predated the zoning code and was not able to ever get brought in line, you can't rebuild unless you get permission to do so. They've expanded the amount of time to do that and lowering the thresholds for rebuilding the same building in this situation, and also giving people more time. So again, this is not affecting Community Board 4, this district, but it is something that they wanted to bring before us. There is a presentation that we can share with you, and they are looking for feedback to bring back before this goes through the whole process. So it was interesting, and it's always good to know, just because it doesn't affect us here, it does affect our brothers and sisters, so important to know. The next item on the agenda was old business. Celeste gave us a pretty short update on the Brownfields Opportunity Area, and that they'll be coming back before us again, Raul Rubio, and will be coming back. So we don't have a fixed date on that, but that will probably be in the next month or so. And it's the presentation that we saw several months ago. New business, 1001 Bushwick Avenue, as Mr. Camacho has already told you. We rallied, we lost. That is bad. And I think that there is a lot of interest in landmarking. I think we should capitalize on that interest and also figure out, the larger preservation strategies. As Mr. Camacho said, one of the reasons if the word on the street is that the family who owned that house was struggling financially and selling it was one opportunity, that's another form of sustainability that we really need to be exploring, and keeping people in their houses and making sure that somebody's hardship does not lead to these sort of cascading problems in the neighborhood. And I think that's really important. New business, also, just to let you know, some things that are on the agenda. As Mr. Camacho said, we participated in the racial impact analysis. We've been participating in that process. I mostly just listen in on the calls to keep informed. And so there was one this morning. It was going to go before the city council. It's been tabled. One of the reasons it's been tabled is that there is a comprehensive planning bill that is coming before the city council right now. It just came out. I haven't had a chance to read the bill yet, but I may be taking a look at it. What's interesting about this bill is that instead of having individual community district rezonings or these spot rezonings, there becomes a comprehensive plan for the whole city. And I think what's so exciting to me about this, and a lot of people, is that you stop pitting neighborhoods against each other. I think a lot of folks who participated in the whole Bushwick community plan process felt like, wait, we're being pitted against, for resources against Fort Greene, or, oh, East New York already got all this money for housing. There's not enough left for you, Bushwick. And so why should one neighborhood be fighting against another neighborhood? The same goes for things like location of shelters, as we know, and I think obviously, especially on a night like tonight, we have huge compassion and need every single person to be housed. We have more than our fair share for our community district of shelters. If there's comprehensive planning, it turns out then you look at the entire city as you start to locate those things for parks, for schools, all of that. So I think that could be really exciting. It could stop pitting neighborhood against neighborhood, fighting for resources. So as we learn more about that, I'll be bringing it before the committee. That is the end of my report. I would happily, if Celeste, I guess as a point of order, shall I present the HLU committee's recommendations, or now, or should we wait till the end of the meeting?
recommendations later.
Okay, thank you very much. And if anyone has any questions, I'm right here to answer them.
Thank you, Anne.
Thank you, Ann. You did a good job.
All right. Next committee report I have is Melissa Carrera, permits and licenses.
Good evening, everyone. Let me know if I sound okay. My headphones are dying, so I hope they don't die on me right now. So the Permits and Licenses Committee met on Monday, December 8th at 6 p.m. This is our last meeting of the year. Thank you to all the committee members who were in attendance, and those who were not, you were missed. So I just want to briefly summarize and pretty much lay out the 6 new liquor license applications that were up for review. The first one was C Trio Inc. on 27 Wyckoff Avenue. So this is located on that like very condensed corner by Artichoke, Seawolf, and other establishments. We talked through with the gentleman there. They are looking to operating hours from Monday through Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. And they are in compliance with no selling of alcohol after 12 a.m. on Sundays. We also had Cornelia Cafe at 523 Evergreen Avenue, primarily a residential area, which was a flag for us on our committee. It's a very small bar tavern location with the intended operating hours of Monday through Sunday from 12 p.m. to 4 a.m. So that definitely raised a lot of flags for us, and especially being a residential area. The gentleman, Jacob, who is the owner, who has other businesses in the community, did express his interest in working with us, but not so much that he would comply with the stipulation of no selling of alcohol after 12 a.m. on Sunday. So that was just something that we were grappling with after meeting with them. Then we had Stanwix Bar, located at 412 Troutman Street. It's a new liquor license, a bar tavern location as well. Small light food menu. Their intended operating hours are from Monday through Wednesday, 5 p.m. to 2 a.m., Thursday from 5 p.m. to 3 a.m., and Friday and Saturday from 5 p.m. to 4 a.m. So this location is occupying a warehouse. So it's right across the street from also Seawolf, and then the other location, I forget the name of it, so my apologies, I'm blanking now. So the hours were also a little worrisome to us, especially on that street. And we asked a ton of good questions around like operation, just because it is a warehouse, they're still in the construction phase. We didn't get to see much drawings or what the inside will look like, and how much, they will be using this as a bar and lounge and not like a party place, because it has a very long hours and late hours. Then we had House of Yes, who we all know very well, located at 2 Wyckoff Avenue, who are just coming to us for a method of operation change. Everything pretty much stayed the same. The only thing that was being changed, it was being updated to show that they in fact do have security on the premise, as well as will be serving food, just to be in compliance with all of the new protocols, to be able to function, as a business. As most of you know, they were shut down over the summer with a very large fine. The intended hours of operation are Monday and Tuesday closed, Wednesday through Saturday from 7 p.m. to 4 a.m., which, is already existing. Already they have been functioning with these existing hours, and Sunday from 7 p.m. to 12 a.m. And they are in total compliance with the no selling of alcohol after 12 a.m. on Sundays. Then we have Adam Powell with Bushwick Burger Corp., located at 354 Cornelia, formerly a Dominican restaurant, now being operated as a Bush Burger location. Their intended operating hours are Monday through Thursday from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., Friday and Saturday from 7 a.m. to 12 a.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. So with the establishment having a closing time of 10 p.m., they're in compliance with our stipulation of no selling of alcohol after 12 a.m. on Sundays. We did have someone from the community who is on the block association who just wanted to express concerns about the former establishment at this location being very rowdy, littering on the streets, and just creating an unpleasant environment for their neighbors. So we were just making sure that their concerns were being voiced and that we made sure to connect them with the new owners of the establishment to address any issues and to ensure that they have a positive relationship going forward. So that went well. And we have Plaza Ortega Corp., which is a deli at 140 Stanhope Street, asking for a beer and wine, to be able to sell beer and wine. It's a bodega. So as many of you know, a lot of people are coming home after a long day and want to pick up a beer or some wine and head to their home and not be outside. So the gentleman, Jose, who's the owner, is hoping to sell some beers to consumers, to folks going back home, and their hours are Monday through Sunday from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. They are within the hours and in total compliance with our stipulation of no selling of alcohol after 12 a.m. on Sundays. The one thing we did request of them was to get in contact with the head of the school, of the Head Start, that is directly right down the block from them. So we just hope that they get some support and a letter of support from the school, just stating that they are okay with this. And that pretty much sums up the new applications for our committee to review. We did have some new business that we discussed. Celeste followed up with me earlier this month about a good neighbor agreement, which is something we hope to bring to the board sometime next year. I know Celeste is following up with other community boards to find out if there is an iteration of this agreement somewhere and how we can apply this to our board and to businesses and to other committees. So this is something that we are looking into, and I will save the recommendations for the recommendation portion of the meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
All right. If there are no questions about any of the reports.
Yeah, I have a question, Celeste. Melissa, is this 523? Is this, you mentioned the name Jacob. Is this the same owner who has a bar at 109 Moffitt? Is
Yes.
this the same person?
It is.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Bad news. All right. Thank you.
That's a good flag. Thank you.
Yeah, that is a good one. If
Right,
you
so
guys,
we have,
if you
no, we
guys
have
and you'll get on a committee or you see or you need to know something and it's the same thing, let us know like that. When we do meet with him, we'll know that he has another establishment, because they normally don't say anything like that. But that was good that we flagged that he has one over there in the same,
right,
So-
and that's the one that we had a lot of problems and we petitioned. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Ms. Jackson, I actually had you in mind specifically when I mentioned that during the committee meeting, because he mentioned he had other businesses. He didn't mention, who they were. And so I referenced that the Evergreen, right, the one on the corner, has had problems in terms of the people, leaving, speaking loudly, drunken behavior, throwing garbage in people's garbage cans, whatever it may be, just inappropriate behavior. And also the food vendor, right, that's out there. And he did speak to it briefly during the meeting.
Okay.
Anyone else? All right. Hearing none, we'll move on to agenda item number 7, recommendations. Anne, if you want to go first.
Yes, thank you, Celeste. So the Housing and Land Use Committee, after our discussion, we voted to approve with stipulations. And these are the stipulations which were very important to us, which were to determine some form of memorialization for the requirement for manufacturing. There are a number of different ways. The Type A team had mentioned that it is pretty much cooked into the zoning, but if there's some other way to really sort of follow up, if there's some form of reporting that will allow us to do that, that is something that we would we would love to see. The second thing is to re-examine the unit mix. And to make sure that there are a few more units below 60% AMI and preferably in the 30 to 40 range, AMI range, because 30 to 40 is a lot closer to what we are talking about for the needs of this community. There are, financial realities. There are HPD term sheets. We recognize that, but within that mix, if we can push more to sort of do some tweaking to get more at 30 and 40% AMI, that would be very important. Because again, 100% AMI, or certainly 130 is, market plus for Bushwick. So we'd like to see it a lot lower. Those were our primary stipulations, and we voted after some discussion. I believe it was unanimously voted to recommend with those stipulations.
And just to share some notes from this evening that I was taking from the presentation earlier and then the discussion portion, there was an ask for them to continue to be an informative partner as well. Also to partner with workforce development in the neighborhood, job readiness, local hiring. I would suggest that the board consider, either noting a percentage or making something more definitive in terms of how they're hiring from the community. I'll let you have that discussion. And then there was also an ask for community preference for apartments. As some of us may know, there was ongoing litigation. I do not have a current status of that. However, if it still remains, I would encourage us to ask for that as well. If other communities are asking for their neighborhoods to have a preference, then it should be no different if it exists. So if it does not exist, then that's, a different story. And then I see you, Ann, I just have a few more points. And then also discussed earlier is the stipulation. So the entire project potentially is the approval contingent on HPD funding. Is that something that the board wants to consider? Just with concerns that if there is no funding from HPD, what happens? And then on the other side of that, a commitment from the developer that it stays the same without funding. That's everything that I have. So go ahead.
And so I guess what I just to flesh that out a little bit, Celeste, thank you for raising those points. The community preference is, as I understand it, it is wending its way through the federal courts. I think the case is, I believe in California, I could be wrong. A lot of people do not expect community preference to survive. And so therefore, right now, I think it still exists. There is a 50% CD community preference. However, if that goes away by the timeframe of the completion of this project, I think what we can ask for in its place is an incredibly robust marketing plan with local organizations to make sure that people in this community who are eligible are flooding those applications so that they just statistically have a better shot of getting it.
Makes sense.
All right.
A motion from the board?
I make a motion for all that you said.
Camacho. I don't think that's in Robert's Rules of Orders.
Then I would have to go, we'll be here all day. Anybody second?
I'll second that, Camacho.
Okay.
Novoa.
Okay, is the blanket vote okay with everyone?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
you guys
All right.
to make a motion.
Favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And as a matter of fact, one thing that was not clear, and we don't have our parliamentarian, so excuse me, I'm gonna switch my hat really quick this evening. So I know you made the motion, Mr. Camacho, but remember the rule. There are 4 options: yes with stipulations, no with stipulations, yes or no. So we have with stipulations, but we have to go back really quick to make sure we know if it's a yes with stipulations or a no with stipulations. My apologies.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, first, before we're gonna do, is there a motion to do a blanket vote?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Yes, with stipulations.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Z, just to make that clarification. So now we already have the yes for the blanket vote. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? So moved. Thank you, everyone. All right. Now, moving us on, we have our civic, public safety, religious item with the street co-naming. So there was a recommendation in the committee in support of this request for the street co-naming. Is there a motion from the board?
Gladys Furia put the motion for the co-naming.
Alvina Davis, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Thank you, everyone. And lastly, we have our permits and licenses recommendations. Melissa?
Thank you, Celeste. So the recommendations from the committee are as follows. The first recommendation is for C Trio at 297 Wyckoff Avenue. Motion to approve with the hours of 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. However, needs to show proof of reaching out to his neighbors. And our second recommendation was for 523 Evergreen Avenue, which is the Cornelia Cafe, and move to approve only if location owners are willing to shorten their closing time from 4 a.m. to 2 a.m. from Monday through Sunday. Location, as we discussed earlier, is located in a residential block, and he's not particularly keen on shortening his time. So also with the stipulation of no selling of alcohol after 12 a.m. on Sundays. So this is all contingent on the compliance of the establishment owner. So the ball is in their park. I'm also concerned after several complaints and just, portraying to be a good actor in front of us and doing differently, with our other businesses. So third recommendation was for 412 Troutman Street, the Stanwix Bar. We moved to approve with the establishment closing time to be set at 2 a.m., not 4 a.m., and must be willing to adhere to the compliance of no selling of alcohol on Sundays after 12 a.m. And for House of Yes at 2 Wyckoff Avenue, we moved to approve with the change of method operation as is, with updates from Anya and Kay on how they plan to operate during COVID times. So we would like to know what their operation will be looking like from day to day, just to get a better sense of how they will, be managing crowd control, etc. I'm sure they'll have a good plan, but we just want to be involved and get a good sense of what's going on there. We did receive a couple of complaints and one extensive email just highlighting crowds and littering, etc., which they made a promise to, sorry, I saw a message here. They made a promise to fix and get a hold of. Then we have 354 Cornelia, which is Bushwick Burger Corp. Our recommendation is to move as is. However, they need to provide proof of reaching out to their neighbors, and that includes the people that were on the call who are representing the Block Owners Association. Then lastly, we have Plaza Ortega on 140 Stanhope Street. We moved to approve. However, establishment needs to find out about the Bushwick United Head Start, meaning we need a letter of support from the Head Start executive, Mr. Jose Gonzalez, and need to reach out to residents on Stanhope Street between Myrtle and Central Avenue. So the surrounding neighbors, and those are our recommendations.
That's a lot.
I know.
Oh,
It's all on paper. If anyone wants to read them and then go over if anyone has any questions.
So I would suggest to the board that we tie all of those together, if that is okay, just to do one vote. I'm seeing some heads say yes. Okay.
Motion for a blanket vote.
I second.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Any abstentions?
I abstain, Z.
Okay, noted, Z. And so moved. Who, I'm sorry, that was Mr. Camacho second, correct? I'm trying to write as fast as I can.
Yep.
Got it, thank you. This motion has carried. Thank you, everyone. And I believe that concludes, unless there are other recommendations this evening from the board.
Sorry, Celeste. I see there's a message being sent to me privately from someone asking about a pending liquor license. So I will direct them to the office and then we can get in touch with them about this establishment.
Yep.
I just wanted to raise that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so if there's nothing else, that concludes the recommendations portion of the meeting, and we're now down to old business. Is there any old business from the board? Okay, hearing none, I have one item. So for those of you that are on the Housing and Land Use Committee and others that have attended our meetings, you've likely heard about the Housing and Land Use Committee's responsible development policy. I know that there's been a lot of work and effort put into this on behalf of the committee, and I hope that they're ready to recommend full board review in January. So please keep your eyes out for that information shortly, and hopefully we'll be able to use that in discussions with developers moving forward. A lot of the same questions we ask every time, a lot of the details, the information, it's a framework that really is supposed to inform developers before they even come to our meetings of the expectation from the community as it relates to the development in Bushwick. So that's just one piece of old business that may be coming to everyone soon. All right. If there's nothing else, new business?
Yeah, I have just for a reminder, I see here that someone said Marissa Davila is hosting a Know Your Right forum on Zoom tomorrow. I think Celeste sent it. You must RSVP. So I think Celeste put it in the newsletter, or if you look it up, it's on there. So make sure. Also, the 22nd at 2:15, the Bushwick, what is that, generator is hosting a Bushwick and a best Bushwick and Williamsburg food drive. So there's going to be a lot of people. People are going to bring all their stuff there. So we can give out to the people that really need it in Bushwick and in Williamsburg. So everybody's putting it all together. Everybody's giving out stuff and getting stuff together. I'm getting food from Ace Integration. I'm getting food from different places. We're doing our baskets there, and whoever needs, we're gonna go out in Bushwick and get it out. So there's a lot of organizations involved in that. So if y'all want to get involved, please give me a call or let me know at the end, and I'll contact you with the person that's doing it and where we're gonna meet. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. And we also have a request from the community, Mr. Camacho, in reference to the lot that used to be the Secret Garden. There is a resident that wanted to speak just briefly on this to share the information with the neighborhood about what's going on there. Is that okay for him to speak during new business? It's a development where Ms. Hansley, her garden used to be on the corner, and it's that irregular shaped lot. He wanted a moment to address everyone. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay, but you know.
All right.
All right.
So just, briefly. Juan, are you there?
Oh, yes, I'm here.
Go ahead.
Yes, hi. I would like to, take your attention to this development that at the beginning it was supposed to be a mixed-use development in the corner. It has a rear lot, and it's supposed to be a 6-story, and now it's a 20-story building. Instead of being mixed use, it's only 4 apartment buildings. So I think it's a little bit unprecedented to have a 20-story building in this area. But I'm not an expert. But the reason I want to bring this up, not only for that, is that the rear lot is being approved, the zoning, and I think according to the person I talked at zoning at the city of New York is not up to code. So I would like to know how we could challenge this with the Department of Building.
Thank you, Juan. So just so everyone knows, as soon as I heard back from Juan and I had a chance to take a look at the schematics, which are all publicly available, they're through the Department of Buildings Building Information System. I was able to flag this for our Department of Buildings liaison, our city planning liaison, as well as the Economic Development Corporation's liaison as well. They have all been involved in these discussions since the summer. I haven't just heard from Juan, I've heard from his neighbors in regards to this project. Everyone is concerned, and there's been a variety of proposals that have not, at least to my knowledge, been approved by buildings yet. I did mention that there, with the specs that we saw with the parking, that is not supposed to be allowed. There is a restrictive declaration on this land that dates back to many, many, many years ago when Ms. Hansley was stewarding this space and had a relationship with the previous owner. Now, I spoke with the Economic Development Corporation over the summer. They said it's supposed to be publicly accessible green space. I've emphasized this for all 3 of those liaisons. DOB is looking into it, and they said they will get back to me. That email was sent earlier this week, and I'm still awaiting their response. What I would like to do, with the committee's blessing, of course, is have them come. If it's not a requirement, I want to be very clear, this is a private development. However, I will reach out and perhaps we will have someone that is receptive that would like to share more information. However, they are not required to do so. And I want to make that distinction to the community because they're not seeking a zoning change. They are acting within the current zoning, or at least that's what they're trying to do. However, we are certainly watching this project as it develops. So thank you, Juan, for attending this evening. I know it's been a long meeting, but we appreciate you sharing this information with the community.
Thank you so much, and I would be like to follow up, and if there could be, the community that or the board that follows up on this, I would like to be part of it.
Celeste?
Yes, go for it.
Absolutely. One, thank you for bringing that. I think we can should absolutely bring that to the Housing and Land Use Committee. And yes, we need to. So I will follow up with Celeste, and then we will both follow up with you as. Whatever makes the most sense. All right.
Thank you so much.
And Ms. Davis, was that you?
Yes, that was me. The green space that is the old Secret Garden, one of the things that we need to preserve that is because there is a lot of nature back there. See, it's behind my house and I can see it all the time. There's a lot of things that's back there. There's a lot of, it's basically a bird sanctuary. You have so many different breeds of birds that live behind in that large space there. Any development, parking lot, or anything would totally ruin it. So we need to keep that space because even some of the neighbors were talking to me about seeing birds they've never seen before. I mean, in this community, when you can turn around, you see a red-tailed hawk in this community. Most people don't even know what a red-tailed hawk is, or a black-capped chickadee. And some of the neighbors have been coming to me and saying, "Oh, they're seeing all these different types of birds." The birds are back there, and if they will disturb and run them out. We even used to have woodpeckers back there, but since they started doing construction and everything, it will just destroy that ecosystem that's back there. So we need to make sure that we preserve that.
Not only that, the approved plan, I just want to say, is for 114 spots that are going to have a 3-level forklift. It's going to be attended. So meaning that there's going to be 36 spots that are going to have 3-level, and they're going to make noise at any time during the day just to move the cars around.
Yeah, that's no good.
All right, so we'll work on that and we'll make sure that we get on top of it.
Thank you. Right, so moving us along now with our next agenda item, we have our announcements. So 1.5 minutes. I was contacted by some folks who wanted to make announcements in advance. Let me see if they're still here. I do. I have Cindy Escura. Cindy?
Yes,
You're
I'm here. Hello.
Go ahead.
So I don't know that I could share this, but I'm just gonna send it on here. So my name is Cindy Escura. I am from the Kingsborough Community College Job Corps Scholars Program. I am actually wearing my Christmas sweater, and I'm sad that I can't show you all because I was ready to showcase for Mr. Camacho over there.
No, you can't beat me. I'm a Santa Claus guy too.
I see. It is a pleasure to virtually meet you all. I am the personal and career counselor for the program, and I am so excited because we are launching our first cohort in the spring. We are offering a couple of options for students from ages 18 to 24. They run from healthcare to business to trade programs. So we just wanted to point out that this is free tuition, money towards books, supplies, and certification exams, job readiness workshops and events, personal and career counseling, and college enrollment. Again, this will begin in March. So the goal is for us to basically recruit a lot of students in the communities in Brooklyn. We're really excited. We have many options for all of them. You know, this is definitely an opportunity for students to really jump in virtually and education that they could have. And also we do offer classes during the times that they are not. So you can still have a job, still take classes and courses and gain your certification. Do you have any questions so far?
You know, could you please send everything to the community board office so we can give it to the Senate, to the schools?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And again, my name is Cindy Escura. I am for a personal and career counselor for the Job Corps program. And we are so excited to be here. And me, especially, I sat here and listened to all of you. And I just want to thank you for everything that you do. And I look forward to staying connected.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I actually do have one quick question. This is Raul Rubio. Is it only for students in Brooklyn?
It's geared towards the communities in Brooklyn just because of the location, but we are open to students, you know, in New York in general. We're thinking about transportation and all things of that nature, but because of the virtual world that we're living in right now, they are accessible online and for students in other boroughs. So yes.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And next meeting, I will be wearing a better sweater and you will see me.
That's in January, so you're gonna have to wear the hood because it'll be cold.
I'll be here. Bye-bye.
I'll be for 3 Keens.
All right, we have other announcements. Marcus, are you able to unmute yourself? Yes.
Yes, I am.
Go for it.
Hey, everyone. Just want to let you know, the first part of the public hearing, there will be a ULURP that's held regarding that on Monday, the 21st at 6 p.m. It will be done virtually. I've sent the information over to Celeste. So if you want to voice testimony, that will be the borough president will make his decision based on what the community is saying. So I will report back the vote today. But if anybody else wanted to speak about it, they can on Monday at 6 p.m. That's it for me. Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you.
Marcus, thank you for all you do, and thank you for the borough president, man. Hugs and kisses, man, because we can kiss.
Virtual hug, man.
They virtual. There you go. I got you right now.
Jonathan Pomboza, any announcements? Can you mute? Hold on.
All right, give me a sec. Hello?
Jonathan, yep, go ahead.
Yeah, hi there. Just that yesterday, someone was sorry, I don't have it in front of me, but there's a press release. A Bronx man was indicted. He ran a scam calling senior citizens all throughout Crown Heights, Bushwick, Bed-Stuy, and stole anywhere from like $2,000 to $15,000, and from the senior citizens calling and saying that they were a lawyer and their grandchild was in jail on bail. And so just please keep an eye out on our seniors, contact them, make sure they're okay. Be aware that there are people trying to take advantage of vulnerable populations during this time, especially when people are so isolated. And that's my only announcement. Just also wishing everyone happy holidays and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Julio, do you
Thank
have
you.
any announcements? Julio?
Yes.
Julio 1.4, I'm timing you.
You're already. You're taking my time away. Good evening, everyone. Firstly, happy holidays to everyone, our district manager, our chairperson, and the entire board and attendees. Hopefully in the coming days, I'll send the chairman and the district manager an update on the stimulus talks that are happening right as we speak. We're waiting for news ourselves. Our team is waiting to hear back from our legislative team on what's happening. Like I said, the negotiations are happening as we speak. So I'll send that to you guys quickly. And again, it was it was a pleasure working with you guys this year. Looking forward to the next year and connecting with you all. Thank you.
And tell the congresswoman to send me some money. So hurry up and get me some money, man. 'Cause we need it. We've been waiting too long. This is too long. And I just want, I got to think, that as of January 20th, I'm going to use my van. I got a confirmation that I'm going to go to move the president from Pennsylvania Avenue. So I'm going to take my van and move him from there. So anybody want to come and help me, I'm going to need help.
Camacho, your time is up.
Your time's up.
All right. I also have Taika. Do you have any announcements for us this evening? Taika, are you there?
Hi, yes, can you hear me? Okay, yeah, I do. Just one quick announcement. Once again, I'm Taika. I'm from Comptroller Stringer's office. Is going to be back here this evening with Community Board 4. I just wanted to share that our office just released our annual Making the Grade report. It's our annual MWBE report that issues letter grades to city agencies based on their level of success spending with minority and women-owned business enterprises. So the grades are based on the framework of Local Law 1 of 2013, which set MWBE participation goals for mayoral agencies. So each year, the report assigns a letter grade to 32 different agencies, plus our office. Unlike other MWBE reporting produced by the City of New York, our report actually measures the actual spending of each agency in a fiscal year. So essentially, the goal of the report is to shine a light on the city's spending with MWBEs and to encourage all city agencies to increase MWBE utilization. So in order to further increase transparency, there's actually a set of dynamic interactive maps that illustrate the city's spending with certified MWBEs by race, ethnicity, gender, community district, and borough from fiscal years 2011 to fiscal years 2016. It just highlights where the spending is and is not happening. Just a quick note here, we know that in terms of advocacy and concentrating on making this a priority for agencies, that all agencies can improve their letter grades. We know this because we've seen this in the Comptroller's office internally. One quick example, so 7 years ago, the Comptroller appointed a Chief Diversity Officer and Director of Diversity in the Bureau of Asset Management. We also advocated for the Charter Revision Commission to prioritize diversity and inclusion. And now the result is that 7 years later, our cabinet is diverse. It is 70% women and 38% people of color. The mayor followed suit and he issued an executive order to appoint chief diversity officers. And additionally, the Charter Commission actually codified the MWBE program. And in the report, you can find a breakdown of all the results over the past 7 years. And I know that earlier this year, our office did a presentation to your Economic Development Committee. So I thought this could be an interesting update for Community Board 4. And I will share the report in the chat box. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Andres, I know Mr. Camacho mentioned this earlier, but do you have an announcement as well? Do you want to remind everyone about the upcoming event? Andres, are you still with us? All right, maybe he'll come back. And I know Z, you have an announcement. Are you there?
Yes, hi, good evening, everyone. Just as a quick announcement, but I'm wearing a different hat tonight as a DOH member. I just got word about this while we were doing this meeting tonight. We're going to be doing PPE distribution. I have a team set up. I will give you everyone the information, but I'm going to give everyone my my work cell right now, and I'll put it in the chat box, which is 347-633-5249. The reason I'm giving my cell work number is because I would like any organization, houses of worship, anyone who wants PPE, hand sanitizers, and everything, please give me a call as of tomorrow. Even though with the snow, I'm setting up already a plan. So everyone is welcome to call me. You can't call me, do it through the community board. But we have now material to distribute specifically for Bushwick. And it will be a shame that we will lose this opportunity. I will be personally delivering them. And if not, it will be a team with me. But I will be the person that you will be seeing. So again, please reach out to me or to the CP4. Thank you. I know my time is up, Camacho. Bye.
What's the number? What's the number?
Huh?
The number again?
The number.
Okay, I apologize. My work cell is 347-633-5249. And my email is Z as a Zulu. And like Nancy. Okay.
I'm going to call you.
All right, you call me. That goes for everyone, every organization. I love you, Camacho.
I'm going to call you. I'm not going to call you on your work phone. I'm going to call you on your personal phone.
Okay, I'll let my husband answer that one. Bye.
Thank
Z,
you,
I got a
Z.
quick question. Just with like the last thing, is it just going to be for Bushwick, or is it cover like something?
Actually, we have distribution all over Brooklyn, but because I'm part of Bushwick, I will be doing all Bushwick. So please, I can't emphasize this as much I can. And that still includes, believe it or not, COVID testing. And the reason we're doing this because now that we're going into the vaccine distribution, which we're going to have a discussion on Friday, I'm very limited on what I can say about that. You're still going to need masks, hand sanitizer, and everything. And there's an important thing about that again, many of us who are going to probably receive it early. It's just because we're essential workers, but the general population will probably be starting to receive this. Don't quote me. I'm just letting you know, probably by February, it will start mass distribution to publics. But we want everybody to be fully aware, but yet you still need to have masks and your hand sanitizers as well. Plus, we're going to give out information and small signs and posters that we have. Okay?
Listen, how about the testing? The testing?
Yes, as for the testing, the location, which I brought again to the CB4 and through you, sir, and if I'm correct, through Ms. Celeste, we want to have a meeting with you as well as the committee, the health committee, so we can lock in a facility.
Okay, sounds good.
So just please reach out to me because I'm working from home now. Is the best time.
Okay. You got a lot of chairs behind you, man.
You know what? Yeah, this is my office. I'm in Geneva right now. Bye.
Thank you, Z. Andres, are you able to control your sound? There you go.
Yes, I am. Thank you. Sorry, I was unable to do it earlier. So yes, I forgot to mention that the Assemblywoman is going to be hosting a Know Your Rights tenant forum via Zoom tomorrow at 6:30. If you want to RSVP, I send my email on the chat, so that we'll be able to send you the link for tomorrow. Thank you.
And Barbara, I see you. I don't know if you have any things, but I'm gonna unmute you. Do you have any announcements, Barbara?
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Hey, Barbara, how are you? Love you so.
Of course, I love all of y'all. I just want everyone to know
This year, the 83rd precinct couldn't have a toy giveaway, but I adopted a shelter and I'm supplying toys for 110 children, along with families that laid off from their job, and anyone that had someone in their family that had the virus. I'm supplying toys for those families. So all the donations, I want to thank you guys. My Cash App was really jumping. People were dropping cash in our Cash App, and Toys for Tots gave me toys. So that's how I am giving out the toys this year. I'm not giving them out just to the, thank you, Robert. I'm not just giving them out to the public. I chose certain people to give them out to, and I think this will be good. A lot of people say, why would you do a shelter? Shelter gifts. Shelter gifts, organizations give them toys, but the kid gets one toy. And that's kind of, So I have enough toys, thank God, that I could give each child, 141 children, at least 3 toys. Wow. So that's what the 83rd Precinct Council is doing now. And Tuesday, we're going to give the 83rd Precinct officers a Christmas gift. Our Clergy Council President, Bishop Clark, is feeding the 7 to 3 officers. He's cooking the food himself, taking it to the precinct and putting it into go bags and give it to them. And the 83rd Precinct Community Council is feeding the 4 to 12 officers and the 12 to 8 officers. I'm not cooking, I'm catering. So that's how all the cash out money coming in, that's what we're dealing with. So tell everybody Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year, and thank all you guys for this. We didn't have a meeting, but you guys still kept calling me and emailing me. I thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Barbara.
Love you.
All right. And if there's anyone else, please put a comment in the chat and I will call on you. I do have a quick video that I would like to share. So as most of you know, during this time of year after the December meeting, we have a holiday party, and unfortunately we're not able to do that. And so I tried to pull together somewhat of a Christmas miracle to share the spirit with you all. And the L Train Brass Band did have a brief clip. I promise it's less than 2 minutes. And I would love to share it with you all. It was supposed to be to promote the event this weekend that will likely have to be canceled in Irving Square Park, which is the annual tree lighting / winter celebration. Give me one moment. I'm going to pull it up. All right. Can everyone see my screen? Just by nod of heads. Yes. I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to try to see if this works.
Oh. Can't hear.
Sound, Celeste?
Is it?
There's no sound.
Oh boy. I was worried about that. I don't know if WebEx will allow me to do it. I will put the link. I will share the link with everyone. I was wondering, I was like, can you hear it? I can hear it. I know that we've had issues with sound before. I will share this with everyone. I will send the link to the board. Community members, feel free. I know that we have issues with WebEx. If it was Zoom, I'm sure we would be able to hear the sound. But thank you, everyone, for bearing with me.
That was in the lot on Green and Broadway.
Yeah, exactly, right there.
Can you put the link in the chat?
Yes, I'm going to try to put the link in the chat now. I'm going to see if I can share it. But let's see. But I don't want to hold up our meeting, so I have to keep things moving.
No, at least we can all check it out after the meeting.
Yep, I will do that, but I have to start the second roll call, so I can't do both at the same time. I don't want to keep everyone on here, but I'll send an email to everyone with the link just so you can listen in. So my apologies for the technical issues.
We can see later.
Yes, I'll send it to everyone in an email, and I'll put it in if you want to grab it before you jump off, but I don't want to hold everyone up while I figure that out. So, second roll call, we'll move on now. Starting from the end of the list, I have Oldoff Wright, James Wiseman, Carlotta Williams.
Jamie had to sign off. He sent a text.
Okay. I have Carlotta Williams, Jerry Valentin, Justin Sonborn.
Here, present.
Gotcha. Bernardina Shell, Raul Rubio,
Present on one of those screens in front of you.
Gladys Bouvier.
Present.
Got you. Asira Polite,
Present.
Zuma Navoa,
Present.
Sammy Namir Olivares, Desmond Monroe,
Present.
Mary McClellan,
Present.
Luisa Jose, Virgie Jones,
Present.
Kristen Jock,
Present.
Barbara Jackson,
Still here, still here.
Tanisha Honeygan, Jose Guzman.
Present.
Here.
Got you, Tanisha. Reverend Migdali Gutierrez, Ann Guiney,
Present.
Igari Gomez,
Present.
Freddie Fowler, James Fitzgerald.
Oh, I am still here.
Gotcha. Victoria Fernandez, Alvina Davis,
Present.
Daniela Davi. Got you. Andrew Troy said he had to leave early. Luisa Chan. Got you. Felix Ceballos,
Present.
Melissa Carrera,
Here.
Cartier Caphart,
Present.
Robert Camacho,
Presente. Merry Christmas. Love you so. Happy New Year. And Wanda.
Just answer, thank you.
Okay, present.
Rob Brown,
Present.
Sasha Brown,
Present. Merry Christmas, Camacho.
Merry Christmas.
All right. Is there a motion from the board to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
And
Yo, I'm leaving, man. We're leaving. I'm by myself. Y'all should stay with me. I'm by myself. Why we leaving, man?
Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy New Year. That's it.
Okay, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
See you all. Bye-bye.
Guys, tomorrow. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
so
Bye.
much. Goodbye.
Merry Christmas, Josh.
I'm crying. Bye. Y'all leaving.
Bye, Robert.
Bye, Jackson. Bye.
I'm gonna add the link. now.
Camacho, Camacho.
Oh, enough. Bye. I'm gonna be the last one. Bye, Rubio.
I'm sticking around. I want that link.
Maddie King.
Take care, Robert, man.
I'm gonna play the music. I'm gonna play the band. Boom, 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 boom.
There you go.
Camacho, your time is up.
Oh no, my time. Party, man.
1 minute and a half already.
It passed 1 minute.
Either which way, man. Merry Christmas, man.
You too, man. Be good. Nice seeing you guys. Yo, you can see the shave, bro.
Good work.
What? This no shave November? It passed.
I trimmed it up, man.
Oh, you trimmed it? Yeah, you look like a puppy now. You used to be a chulo, but now you're just a puppy.
Cool. That's in Spanish.
All good, bro.
Yo, what you talking about, old man?
Good night, everyone. Happy
Good night.
holidays. Stay safe out there.
New Year,
Take care,
man.
guys. Yo,